And welcome back to the We'll Take It From Here podcast. Another week, another episode. However, first, we are going to bring you our show's sponsor, because this episode is brought to you by Honest Supplements. Now, Joe, what's Honest Supplements? Well, let me tell you. In a world that is plagued by new illness outbreak every other day, it's important to keep your body performing at its best with the right vitamins and supplements. However, these products can get expensive, especially with rising prices all around us. Honest Supplements has resolved that problem. They mark up all products by just $1, saving their members an average of 50% per product. Yes, that means that the protein you're paying $60 for is only $30 on their website. They have everything from vitamins, sports supplements, recovery, weight loss, CBD, and so much more. Timmy and I are both members and can advocate for the amount of money that you will save. And do we also mention that their products are third-party lab tested? Because that's the only true way to prove vitamins and supplements actually contain the ingredients that they claim. Don't wait. Go to Honest Supplements right now to join today and start taking better care of your health. And it's right. If you train jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, or just in the gym, you better be taking Honest Supplements. So go to their website, guys. All right. Now it's time for the show. Welcome back, folks. So we'll take it from here. Podcast. Joe and Timmy here. Episode 209. It's 209 episodes, bro, and I can't even say the intro. 209. As you see, we have a cool-ass guest over here. For most of you in Pure MMA, you'll know who this is, this legend, Sam Messina. Welcome to the show, brother.
What's up? How you guys doing?
Yeah, good. Folks, you already know what I'm about to say. If you find something from the show, if you find something from the show in general, please share it. Get it out there. It'd be great. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. If you don't want to, don't need to. But anyways, all authentic, word to mouth. We love it. But we'll definitely appreciate it. But let's just get right into the show, man. Welcome to the show. We know how this is going to work.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. First off, we're going to start. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Absolutely, yeah. So how you been? How was the holidays? How was yesterday?
Yeah, it was all right. I had the pleasure of having my family over for Christmas Eve. Me and my wife had my parents over, so we cooked ham and all kinds of stuff. So I had to clean up.
Yeah, I was gonna say
the following morning.
I was gonna say, so the ham is always good. That's a classic Christmas dish. Do you do the 7 fish or no? Or
no, I haven't. I know that most of the Italians do all that stuff, but I've never really known. My great grandma came here from Sicily, and she used to make like all kinds of crazy stuff in her garden, but we never really got into the 7 fishes.
Is that an American Italian?
No,
it's
an Italian.
That's a full Italian.
Yeah,
Why did I think that was an American thing?
I don't know, but I mean, no, it is. Look, considering that you are hosting,
I'm not hating on it either.
No, for sure. But the host is a bitch in itself, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot, and then to have to prepare 7 different fish dishes, like, all right, whatever. But
making
that's cool.
2 sides was like a friggin' pain in the ass for me. And the ham I bought was already cooked. You'd have to heat it up. So,
do you think it's better to host or have to travel on holidays?
I like to see everybody normally. And I'm a talker, so I like to go around and see my aunts and uncles and everything. But it's just different. I mean, I like to host also. Hosting's fun.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and then if you're drinking and you have that whole thing involved, then you're driving everywhere.
Definitely host it.
Yeah. And if you got your wife around and she's like, come on, it's like, oh.
Yeah, no, that is true.
You don't want to go too many places.
It's funny you said your grandma's from Sicily, but your last name is literally a really big city in Sicily. Messina, right by Calabria. So is she from Messina? Is that like literally how you got your last name?
I mean, I'm going to be honest, I'm not 100% sure. Probably should know that, but
not that you probably should know or not. I don't know. I ask really random questions. Yeah, all good.
And she lived to 103 years old.
God, that's great.
Drank a glass of red wine every single night, or like a shot of some kind of whiskey every single night.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's almost like that's like in
Mowed her lawn
moderation.
until she was 96 years old.
Wait, so
She mowed her lawn until 96.
Yeah, well, she wasn't supposed to. Like, my dad
course
pulled
not.
up one day and was like, what are you doing? And she was like,
Hey, mow the lawn.
I'm fine. Leave me alone.
yeah.
My grandfather at 87 was climbing ladders, and like it was one of those. I'm not going to tell him no
gonna be
because
my
he's going
dad.
to do behind my back. So I'm going to be there watching him and grab him.
It's going to be my dad. That's a normal affair for Messina and Son painting. It's like, my dad's up on a ladder, and he's like, all right, I'm going to jump it a little to the left. And I'm there like, oh, my God. Like, holding the bottom of the ladder, trying to counter.
Jump it a little to the left. Oh, God.
Yo, that's wild. There's something with red wine that we're going to have to study here because a glass of red wine a day, allowing your great grandma, right?
Well, I'm not sure if that's what did it, but I don't know. I have heard,
96, mowing the lawn, dude.
yeah, she lived to 103, and like, I'll never forget this. So when I was little, I went to Catholic school, and they would have like these little book fairs, scholastic book fairs.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And I was always so pumped to get like $10 or $15 and like get like a Shaq poster or get some kind or
The classic car
Goosebumps.
collection on the hill with like the Ferrari and stuff that
Yeah.
everyone had. Yeah.
And all that was fun for us. So one time I remember that they didn't have much, and they had like this little statue of Saint Anthony, and my great grandma, she loved Saint Anthony. So I was like, I'll get it for her. I didn't think it was that big of a deal at the time, and I gave it to her, and she was like, really surprised I did that for her. And so when, like, up until she was like maybe a couple months away from passing away, she was pretty there, pretty. So when I talked to her, like a couple days before or something, she's like, listen, I'm not going to be around too much longer. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? And she gave me back the statue.
Wow.
She was like, I want you to always have this and keep it. I have it in like a thing in my room somewhere.
That's wild.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
At the time, I totally didn't think it was like a big deal at all. Because you're little, you're like, you get this for my grandma, my great grandma. And to her, it meant like a serious thing. And I always remember that because I always remember how she said that to me, like, I'm not going to be around too much longer. Like, she knew.
Yeah.
She felt it, right? Like her
guess.
soul knew. Yeah, no,
Something like that.
So they say that
I've
you've
a lot
heard
of
that,
stories
right?
like that,
Yeah.
It's wild. But that's cool, though. That's full circle. And like, she held on to it her whole life, the rest from when you gave it to her.
Yeah, well, I probably gave it to her when I was like, I don't know,
10?
7 or 8. Yeah, something like that. And then she passed away when I was probably 12 or 13. So she probably 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, but still, 5
yeah.
or 6 years. And then she's like, I want you to have it, too. Like,
Yeah.
That's dope.
That clearly meant a lot to her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that did.
So 103 you said she passed?
Yeah, she was 103. Yep.
103 years.
Yeah.
You know what I think? Because you said glass of red wine or whiskey. I think, and this is the thing we talked about, it's been the theme the last couple of weeks, is having fun in jiu-jitsu. I think she was just enjoying life.
Probably.
Like,
yeah.
I don't necessarily think it was like drinking the red wine a glass a night, was it? It was, no, she probably enjoyed that glass of wine. It was every night I'm going to have a glass of wine
something to look forward to.
Look forward to it. And when I'm having that, it's like your cup of coffee in the morning. It's like, I'm going to sit here and this is my 30 minutes of vacation.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm going to relax a little bit.
30 minutes of vacation every day. I'll take it. I think that's just also a cultural thing and probably a generational thing. They were like,
definitely a cultural thing. Yeah. Even down to the little glasses that they drank them out of. They all had that little, almost looks like a little cordial glass with like a stem on the bottom.
Yeah, I know what
like
you're
a
talking
half
about.
stem, and then it's like,
and it goes up, like comes
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Yeah. I love
She always
those.
drank it out of that.
I fucking love that.
I love that. Bunch of Italians right here.
Yeah,
talking.
dude, we have 2 Italians. So the biggest thing is we're going to be talking about a lot of wine, a lot of Italian, and hopefully we're all talking over each other. That's how you know we're true Italians.
We've been pretty good so
We've
far.
been good so far. But it's only what? It's only 7
You're
minutes.
talking about the Christmas stuff and all that. I'm like, man, I feel at home right now with the three of us right now.
Love that stuff. Good. So, like I said, take us a little back, right? So, obviously, you gave us a little bit of a little preview saying you went to Catholic school, but what really is like what I want to know is who's Sam, right? Like, I know you from jiu-jitsu, and I know you from like in passing and talking on the mats, but and so do most people. But a lot of people don't know who you really are and what you're really about. So, who you are goes far back, where'd you grow up, etc. Let's get to know you, brother.
So originally from West Orange.
The Oranges.
Right. Obviously, it was. So I went to Catholic school there. So I started pretty
Catholic
young.
school?
Our Lady of Lourdes. At the time, it was Our Lady of Lourdes. I forget what it's called now, but it's right at the bottom of Eagle Rock.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
I forget the bar that's over there now. I haven't been there in so long.
Was that where
Egan's, maybe?
Quincy's used to be?
I'm not. You know what? That sounds familiar. No, you know what it was? It was what's the bar everybody likes down there? Gaffers. You know Gaffers Pub?
No, I don't, but it sounds good.
It's pretty popular in West Orange. But yeah, so I went to Catholic school for my whole elementary life, you know. Pre-K, I guess you want to call it, kindergarten, all the way up until about 5th grade. And then we moved to Livingston for 6th grade. So, and I went to, you know, public school, obviously, then, when I got to Livingston, which was a totally weird, drastic change.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I don't know, in Catholic school, it's like, you have religion class, you have all this different stuff. I'm not really sure how different schools, sure, some are better than the others, but I was like way behind. Maybe it was the Livingston School District had a good school district at the time or whatever. I know the high school was like apparently they called it a blue ribbon high school or something like that.
What is that? What is blue ribbon?
I'm not really sure.
It's a higher quality, higher standards.
Nice.
But yeah, so when I got to Livingston, I was like surprised. Like I was behind a lot of people. Not that I was in like the slower classes. I was in pretty much all the standard classes, but I wasn't up to par on a lot of the stuff, especially like the math and everything. Maybe they had us too focused on all the
religion.
Yeah, exactly.
So they taught, like, in the Catholic school, they taught...
yeah, you had an actual religion class that you would learn about, like...
Oh, nice. Like
the
theology.
Bible.
Almost.
Yeah. All that stuff. They test you on it and stuff.
What, did you have nuns teaching you, or is that...
Yeah,
Oh, no
nuns.
way.
Oh, yeah.
Would they, like, smack the hand?
No. See, my father... So here's another funny story about the Catholic school. So, the Catholic school I went to, my father... And all of his brothers and sisters went there. And he had...
You're speaking the same thing for me.
Yeah. So
I went to St. Rose. My mom and
St. Rose of Lima.
Yeah, in East Hanover.
Yeah.
My mom and her 8 other siblings all went there, and then me and all my cousins, there's 22 of us, all went. Half of us went to St. Rose.
Damn, you guys got an army that went
there. Yeah. Everything you're saying, I'm like, oh my god, you sound like me.
Yeah. Well, so a lot of the nuns, you know, they knew us as the Messina. So. My father, all of his siblings went there, and so my Uncle Jimmy, so my father's oldest brother, was like, you know, he wasn't born with specifically anything, but they pulled him out with forceps, and back then that could like damage the baby's brain or whatever. So my Uncle Jimmy was like a little special. He would walk down there, like he would walk into the school when my father and you know, all of his brothers and sisters went to school there, and he'd like walk in and like slam a thing of bread on the desk and be like, "Take this home to mother," and like everybody in the class would look at my dad or my aunt and like, you know, but everybody knew, like everybody had a lot of, you know, sympathy or whatever, you know, they liked him, they knew him,
yeah.
My Uncle Jimmy. So flash forward years when I'm there, and he would do the same thing. He never slammed a thing of bread on my desk, but the thing, like they would call me in the loudspeaker and be like, "Sam, your Uncle Jimmy's here," and like he would come to my class, and like everybody in the like a 3rd grade class, everybody in the class would just be like this. Well, you know, like little kids, they stare and stuff like that. So, and he'd come over and be like, "What's up, Jim?" And come over and be like, "Hey, Sam," and like talk to me and whatever. Sometimes he'd bring me stuff, candy, I don't know. Sometimes they'd call me into the office and go see him, but sometimes he'd just walk right in my classroom. And if anybody, like, you know, nobody ever really did, but if anybody laughed, I'm sure the nun would have like freaked out.
Yeah, for sure.
My dad said that somebody said something when he was younger about my uncle when he came in, and I'm pretty sure that kid got slapped. Because back then they would do stuff like that.
But it's nice though how like over the years your uncle was able to come back and just like 'cause he was welcomed in the school. And just always like, yeah, it's Jimmy.
Uncle Jimmy. He worked in Washington Street School in West Orange for years and years, very long time, and you know, he would show up to work to you know, he would go early, so that was his thing. He would really get up early, and like he couldn't wait sometimes to eat breakfast. He wanted raviolis at 10, 11 a.m.
I love it
because when you're up at 4 a.m., he's like, you know, your day's already started. So he would go into work early in the school sometimes, open up the school and be in there. They didn't care. They never gave him a problem. Pay him for, you know, they'd pay him whatever he'd leave randomly. He didn't want to work anymore. Would just leave.
I'm done with today. Okay, see you.
Right.
See you, Jimmy.
Really living his own life.
Right.
I fucking love that.
But, you know, there's cool is that the school district and like all the supervisors, they, you know, they didn't really care. They just gave him a complete pass, and that's pretty cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To be, I guess, empathetic like that. Mm-hmm. And it was good because it gave him something to do. He would walk. He was like a machine. He would walk. My grandma lived on Eagle Rock Ave at the. I don't know if you guys know West Orange, that area, but it's a big mountain going up. And he would walk down the hill all the way down there every single day. Go to church, go to the place where he worked, the Washington Street School. He would walk all the way to Orange to this place called Munchies or something in the valley. And his whole life was walking. He must have had the most tremendous heart in the world.
I'm sure. Yeah, that and leg strength for sure. Oh my God. Is Eagle Rock? Are there multiple Eagle Rocks, or does that go into like Roseland?
Well, yeah. So Eagle Rock was if you know Eagle Rock, where it goes like up into Roseland, where you're talking about, where the golf course is, and then it comes down. Yeah, and then it goes back all the way up, and then goes down again.
Dude,
and that's
he
when
would
you're
walk that.
No, he would go the other way. So you're thinking he would go from, if you started going down the hill, you know where the High Lawn Pavilion is, like the overlook? Mm-hmm. They live about halfway down the mountain from there. So he would walk down and go down towards Orange, towards like the West Orange police station into the valley, and then walk back. But he would walk down to, right there is where I went to school, at the bottom of the mountain. So he would walk down and come get us and walk us back up. He was a character, man. He was like, one day he looked at me, he's like, "You're fat, Sam." And I was like, "You're fat, Jimmy." He's like, "No, I'm not."
That's too funny. That's
great.
He would like say what was on his mind. It was fun. I guess I was like a little kid. I was chubby. I guess he was like saying it to me. I don't know, affectionately or what, but I don't know why. It pissed me off. I was like, "You're fat." And when I said that to him, he flipped out. He's like, "No, I'm not." I was like, all right, dude. Sorry.
Okay. What a cute, but like, it's like innocent but not innocent conversation. I love that. Yeah. That's hilarious. Oh man,
that's great. So you went to Cav school. Did you have any of the same teachers that your parents and aunts and uncles had?
Well, I think there was one nun. Her name was Sister Joan. I don't remember who it was, but she remembered. She was one of the ones that remembered like my family and everything. My grandfather was big into the church, giving money into the. I guess it was a CCD program or
the catechism.
Yeah. So. The kids that went to, none of his kids went to public school, but I guess he contributed to the program for the kids that wanted to go, that were in public school, that wanted to, get your CC. I did that when I came to Livingston at what was it, St. Philomena's.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Not bad.
We had one teacher, Sister Ann, and she was like 90 when first grade teacher.
Got a Sister Ann at this place.
First grade teacher, and she like my mom had her, and she used to smack you with the ruler. By the time we had her, they you weren't allowed to do the ruler stuff anymore. But you remember, she would yell at you, and, like not intentionally, but spit in you on your face. I remember her yelling.
Yo, you know what? I'm thinking about like. I know that it's supposed to be serious if someone's getting smacked, but knowing me, like if my friend got smacked with a ruler, I would try so hard not to laugh. I'd be so screwed.
Well, these nuns some of them were like ruthless. Like they couldn't hit you, but they would like, if they didn't like what you did, they would rip you to shreds, like in front of everybody.
Yeah,
make you cry and stuff.
You're supposed to be holy. You're acting pretty evil right now. It's all the anger coming out.
Yeah. Make you cry
for the stupidest stuff too. Like I forget what happened. She gave one kid the eraser and she was like, correct whatever's up on the board that somebody wrote. And instead of like correcting the grammar, like he like erased like something and like wrote it differently. I don't know if it was like a 7 and he put like the 7 in the middle. She was like, go sit down, and like flipped out. She was like, why did you do that?
Dude, that's actually
we're like
really
little
funny.
kids and we're like, what is going on?
That kid was probably suffered from trauma. He was probably I can't screw this up or she's going to
never wrote a 7 like that ever again in his life. That's wrong, lady. Imagine.
He's trying to write a tip and he needs to write the 7 out. He's 35 years old trying to write a 7. He's like, fuck. Yeah. I'm making it an 8. All right, screw it.
Oh, God. That's too funny.
He'll never write a 7 like that ever again in his life, that guy.
Fuck. Oh, man. So when you went to Livingston, right, you had this whole, let's call it culture shock, right? No, I don't know if that's dramatic, but.
I guess, kind of, yeah. And another thing was I had whole friends and everybody. So in the school that I went to, I played different sports. Like Catholic school is big into basketball.
Yeah.
Right?
Why is that?
They love
the only white sport white kids can play, Italian kids can play?
Yeah. Well, no, we were definitely mixed up when I went there. Yeah, we were all mixed.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, to be honest with you, so when I left, it was like fourth or fifth. I think third and fourth grade, we won the championship.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, I guess bigger when I was little, so I played with the older kids a little bit too. And the next year, the coach loved me, so he was like, yeah, and like, you know, I would literally, I was bigger than the other kids, so like I would shoot the ball and miss and like go up and get it again and like miss 3 times until I made it.
I can't imagine why he loved you.
And then when I moved to Livingston, he got so pissed off. But basketball, like I loved basketball, but you know, I kind of wish there was still a place where I could go get some pickup games. It's still fun to you know. And that's great cardio too. I probably die right now.
Is so much fun.
Your agility goes.
Oh my god!
I was never good at pickup. Never good at basketball
Really?
at all. I didn't know I needed glasses until senior year of high school. So I think that made shooting a little harder.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
But that was one of the sports I still loved playing pickup basketball, even though I sucked at it.
It's okay.
Just hang out by the
Get
three.
rebounds.
Like you play defense and all that. But like that pickup basketball, man, even with your friend just talking shit, fun, you know.
It's funny too. Is like we would play at the Y, and a couple of my buddies were on the basketball team. This is in Livingston now, right? So, and this is much later on, but a couple of my buddies played basketball, and we were wrestlers. So, like, they slept on me 100%. They just figured, and most wrestlers totally don't even know how to dribble a basketball, you know? So, me and like 4 of my buddies who like were not the best basketball players played against a couple of my buddies who like they played all the time, and the whole time was just like trying to get me the ball. I was shooting from like 10 feet beyond the 3 all the time, getting triple covered. But, you know, a lot of my friends, like, you know, they didn't really play basketball like that. And it's funny, we every year wrestling, they would do, in high school wrestling, they would do one practice where we would play basketball against each other. And one of my coaches, his name was Pat Tribuco, he went to the state tournament 4 times in high school.
Wow.
Yeah, he was tremendous wrestler. One of the best wrestlers we've ever had.
That means a lot, especially coming from New Jersey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know?
And he got hurt. Well, there's a whole story. I could go into his story too, but he became one of our coaches when I was a senior in high school, and he used to bust my balls all the time. And that's a whole nother story too, because I got in trouble my junior year in high school, and I got kicked off the wrestling team. So I had to write a whole letter and come back. You know, it was a whole big thing. One of the other kids I got in trouble with, they didn't let him back on the team, but they let me back on because, you know, I don't want to brag, but I had a spot there. Like, you know, what are you going to do? You're going to find somebody else, or you want your starter back? So whatever. So this guy, Pat Tribuco, he was one of our coaches, and he would like just destroy me every day at practice. But I forgot what I was talking about before. There was
basketball.
The basketball. Yeah, the best. So during the basketball game practice, I told you he would. They gave me extras afterwards too, because like he didn't like that I guess was a bad kid, even though he was kind of a bad kid too. But
yeah, well, I think he did that because he knew.
Yeah. And you know what? He developed a liking to me, I guess, later on. You know, he really they would make me drill with him at practice. And be like, all right, double leg takedowns, go, 2 minutes. And like I would go to do a double leg, and he would just hit me in the mouth, and I'd be like, oh, like fall on the ground. Never once got a takedown on the guy.
Wow.
In the drill, but you know, then when you wrestle, it was different. You know,
yeah,
he helped you a lot. But so back to the basketball game. So we were playing the basketball game, and he's looking at me, and I made a couple shots, and everybody else just looked like they couldn't even dribble the ball. There was a couple guys that could shoot, but I started playing, and back then I was much more in shape. So like. We did a couple plays. I scored a few times, and he looks at me and goes, dude, I'm not even kidding. You should have played basketball. These guys suck. He goes, you shouldn't have been a wrestler. You're better at basketball. I'm like, I'm going to lie. I wasn't the best. Like, I placed in the district and stuff like that. Placed in the county. But, like, you know, everybody on my team was, like, region finalist. And, you know, a lot of these guys went to states and stuff. I almost did, but I just, you know, I guess for my team or whatever, the guys I was with, I was, I guess, a middle of the pack wrestler. But it was just funny to hear him say, like, dude, you should have played basketball. Our team, Livingston, we got beat like 75-0 by like East Orange, and they're like dunking on these kids, these little white boys. Like these kids are just like throwing alley oops to each other.
They needed Sam to box out for the rebounds.
No, I probably would have still got destroyed by this guy. When I was little, and I played baseball and basketball when I was little, and then later on, when I got to Livingston and I started to become friends with people there, like my buddy Johnny, who Joe, I don't know if he ever mentioned or whatever.
Johnny doesn't go to Pure, right?
No. He's passed away for a few years now. He's our buddy that passed away. I don't know if Joe, the guy
he did jiu-jitsu, right? I think.
No. But Joe, the reason why I thought maybe you know who he was, because Joe talks about him all the time. He makes posts about him all the time. But he's one of the first people I met when I came to Livingston, and they played football. He was our running back. So obviously I played football, wrestling, and then I even played lacrosse too.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Wait, so was that just so he's the one who got you into those sports? Yeah. Was it all three that he had an influence on, or did you
kind of? Yeah. So the wrestling. So in middle school, when I first came to Livingston, there was two different middle schools. There was Heritage Middle School, and then there was Mount Pleasant Middle School, and all the wrestlers that wound up being on our team. When we were in high school, we went to a state sectional final in wrestling as a team, couple years. But our senior year, it was all seniors that were basically on this middle school heritage team. And then like me and maybe one other guy were on the Mount Pleasant team that all wound up wrestling together. But we had like a rivalry, Mount Pleasant versus Heritage in middle school, and my buddy Johnny and my other friend Billy Chickless, they got me into wrestling. My buddy Billy had done judo when he was little.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so he was like throwing people and headlocking people, and I was like, never wanted to roll with him or drill with him. And I was like,
yeah, don't blame
dude's gonna headlock, throw you over his back. Like, nope, sorry, don't want to go with you. But yeah, so they got me into that, and then I had never played football. I really was a wrestler, and then I played football and lacrosse really to kind of try and, I guess, stay or gain some kind of cardio.
Yeah.
What position in lacrosse?
So, I was a defenseman, but more towards like I played. I only played 1 or 2 years of football, but I played up to my junior year in lacrosse, and towards like more of my junior year, I started to play long stick midi, which is like a lot of running.
Yes, it is. I was midi and face off.
Oh god,
yeah, long stick midi, man. That's a thankless job.
A couple times I got yard sailed coming on and off the field because even if I think even the time the kid had the ball. And I didn't even realize, and he had the ball, and I came on the field, and he just struck me, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, so I think yard sale is when you're like stick,
your helmet, your gloves all fly off. Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you got nothing left.
Yeah, I'm like, I wasn't like the most skilled lacrosse guy with the net. Eventually, I got some skills. Like it was fun to like.
That sport's very hard to just pick. Like I played starting in 6th grade, 7th, whatever. Through high school, but like that's kind of late. Yeah, but it's like that's kind of in the area. That's when it was like people started getting into it. But like that sport is a lot of skills, like all the sports are, but that like there's a lot of finesse involved.
100%.
Knowing the sport, it's fast paced. Like baseball, you have a second between each play. Like all right, what's going on? Who's on what base and all that. So yeah, it's a lot to just try to throw yourself into in the middle of it.
Yeah, so that was another thing that I was going to get into is one of my other buddies, Kyle, who's one of me and Joe's best friends, still to this day. He's the one who kind of got us into lacrosse, really, right? So we played football together. We did the wrestling, and then he got us into lacrosse. And really, he was the one who was skilled with the stick, throwing the ball up, catching it on the side, hitting it with the butt end, like trying to do all tricks. Him and our other buddy Pat Nan were like, the most skilled guys.
Pat.
You know Pat Nan?
Yeah, I played beer league with him.
Oh, okay.
He's a good dude.
Yeah, he played at MSU. He's pretty good.
Yeah,
very good. But yeah, so Kyle's the one who got us into lacrosse, and lacrosse was fun because every once in a while you get like a little strip. and then you'd grab it and you'd run it up the field and like pass it off to somebody and they'd score and you'd be like, that was awesome. Or like you'd be 40 yards out, you're like, should I take a shot on this goal right now?
Yeah. Especially with that long stick too. It's a 6-foot stick, man.
Yeah.
And you're 40 yards out, you can rip that. You can get a lot of meat behind it.
Mm-hmm. My buddy Kyle will attest to this. He always claims the coolest thing that we ever did together in a game. So you know how you can like poke check or like, there's all kinds of fancy checks. And when you poke check, sometimes you want to hit him at the butt end of the stick because it'll make the ball come out like that. So I don't even know if I did it purposely or not. And this all happened at once. And at the time, we were all big into playing hacky sack, right? At like lunchtime or whatever. And like, we were like hacky sack for like the whole time, try and keep it up the whole time. So in the game, I go and I hit the kid's butt end of the stick, right? Like he's in front of me, like he's going to go by me. I poke checked him and hit his butt end, and the ball came out. And like I guess like my hands were all tied up from doing whatever I did, and I only had my feet. And as the ball was coming out, I just went boom, and I like kicked it with my foot, like hacky sack kind of style, to my buddy who was like Kyle, who was like 15 yards away and was running away. Caught it over his shoulder like this and made like a funny noise, like woo, and then like went down the fence. And he's like, "Dude, you remember that?" And I was like, "Yeah, the one cool."
I wish that was on video, man.
Yeah. One of the cool things I ever did. Yeah, but it was just like because from hacky sacking all the time, just bullshitting with it, I kind of just even now like I'll drop my phone and I'll be like, shove my foot out there and like, stop it.
Dude, you preach. Dude, it's the same thing. High school lacrosse, we would play hacky sack.
Hell
and all
yeah.
That.
Yeah. That was like, it was like a lifestyle.
Dude, yeah. I think it's just era too at that time. Like it was like before school started, we would just be playing hacky sack, waiting for school 100%. To start. Yeah.
Study hall.
Like, poke stick, poke check.
Yeah.
Kicking it to your buddy, man. And
poke check, it came out, and I was like, oh, boom. And
you basically passed it to him.
Basically passed it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, just kicked it to him.
I love that.
I was able to get it going straight because, like, when you hacky sack, you hit it on the side of your foot. So I had that whole side of my foot to hit it. It's good.
That's fucking great.
That's a great story.
That's ESPN top 10 right there. No,
it
seriously.
It was lucky.
It doesn't matter. That shit would have waited.
I would have much rather just took a shot from like down the field, like 50 yards away. Score a goal.
Just score a goal.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing. The guys who play goalie in lacrosse are psychopaths.
They're goats.
Bro, that kid Kyle, there was this kid who was a defenseman, and he was just standing in the goal one time. He's like, come on, take a shot. I want to see if and my buddy Kyle, he had like a, I don't know, 50, 60 mile an hour shot, whatever was really fast. And he ripped the shot on this dude. It hit him right in the forehead. It bounced like 20 feet up in the air. And we both were just like this.
Yo, fuck that dude.
He was all right. He was just like this big, huge,
that's straight, almost guaranteed
crazy kid. But yeah, dude. Another kid in the game, somebody took a shot real fast, shattered the kid's cup.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
But
that's gotta hurt.
That's why you wear a cup. I don't care what position you are.
Imagine if he didn't have the cup on.
You learn to rub the cup on.
Man.
Good night. No more jewels, bro. No more jewels,
bro.
Fuck. Yeah. So of those three sports, football doesn't seem like you were there too much. Lacrosse seems like you had a liking to it.
Football was fun, but it was just like okay, this is the only way I can explain it. Of all the sports that I've played, besides for like wrestling, football just like practice sucked.
Yeah, practice did suck.
Like they're like, you play baseball and they're like, oh, you want to hit some BP? And you're like, fuck yeah. And you get up there and you're slugging them into the trees or whatever. Or, I don't know. But and then you go to football practice and they're like, all right, be here. In the summer, they're like, be here twice. And you're like, what? They make you do all
2 days.
We're throwing up. It's hot as hell. Turf, little beads in my eyes. Dude, football was a wreck. And then they're like, all right, well, you're big. Here, you're on the scout defense for the bigger dudes. And I'm like, oh, great. And I just get like double and triple teamed by like the starters in varsity. When I'm a freshman and sophomore, just getting murdered by these guys. And some of these dudes are like, one of the kids in my grade, like, went to West Point, played for like, the kids, when you're young like that, it was like, I was like scared to go to practice sometimes after school. Like, it would be like 8th or 9th period. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, you gotta go, yeah.
I gotta go put all this shit on. And then we practiced I guess the summertime practices sometimes we practice on the turf, which was, you had those little beads. It was nice, but unless you had like real good, too. It gets hot. And then if everyone's like, oh, get turf shoes, and they have like little nubs on the bottom, it doesn't do shit for grip on that. You're slipping and sliding everywhere.
And on the line, you can't be slipping and sliding.
Dude, no, it's terrible.
What year did you graduate high school?
2006.
Oh, damn. You were... Okay, so you're my brother's...
I was 08.
grade, yeah. So we played you at that time because we were Randolph and we used to be
in the Iron
Randolph.
office. Dude. Iron Hills.
Iron Hills, yeah.
Randolph was real good back then, too, when we played them. Every time we played them, it was
yeah.
So
even in wrestling, too.
Yeah, Randolph in wrestling. I got all kinds of stories, football and wrestling, but yeah, wrestling. There was a kid. I don't want to mention any names, but there was a kid who was ranked in the state. His father was like the coach. You could probably figure it out who it is.
I know exactly who you're saying.
For Randolph, and I was like a senior or a junior at the time, and he was a freshman, and he's just a dirty wrestler, and he was just pissing me off. Like we were having not really a good match. It was kind of just like a stalemate. I didn't want to let him do shit because I was older, and he really wanted to try and impose his fucking will or whatever he wanted to do. And like we were in the, you have the down position. He puts his arm on his back, and he like kept like a big thing. And this is like real in wrestling. People will check your oil and like even at a high level, like just to get you to flatten out or do stuff, to grab your balls and shit. This kid was grabbing my balls and twisting from the back, and I was just like. Couldn't take it anymore, and I just fired an elbow behind me. And they were like, "All right, you're DQ'd." And I was just like, "All right, whatever, fine, fuck you. I don't want to wrestle.
I don't have to grab my balls anymore."
Yeah, it was just like
I want my balls.
I hit him pretty good too, but that shit is just annoying, and it's like come on,
classless.
Your dad is the coach. What are you trying to do like that? Like, just wrestle.
Yeah.
Doing dirty shit like that. I hate shit like that.
No, that's bad. I mean, hey, at least you have a story on that, right? You got DQ'd for elbowing some. That's probably where MMA journey began.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
No, fuck. So, but what I was going to say before is of all three sports, seems like wrestling is the one that stuck with you the most. I guess what was behind that?
That was the one that I was the most serious about.
Yeah.
And okay, so in middle school I wrestled too. And I quit in the 6th grade, and then in the 7th grade I did it again. And I because of my buddies, my buddy Johnny and my buddy, they really kept me with it. And Joe too. The first time I ever met Joe was at a recreation wrestling practice. I knew of him actually too, because I told you we had rival middle schools, Heritage and Mount Pleasant. So I knew of him, and I saw him at the recreation. The wrestling recreation, we all practiced together, both sides of town, because we had a separate team for that. So we would go to practice during the day, right after school for your town, for your school, and then at night, like 7:00, they'd have the town practice. So as little kids, we were doing this shit, 2 practices and stuff. So we're at practice one day, and we're like, they're making us do push-ups, and I guess I was on my knees and I was half-assing it, and Joe looks at me and he goes, "Dude, you gonna do a fucking push-up or what?" And I'm like, what the fuck is this guy?
I just pictured Joe's.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's so funny the way you said it. I picture exactly how he said it.
Oh, you know exactly how he said it. Like he was like mad. Like he was doing his push-up. He looked at me and was like, "You gonna do a push-up or what?" Like,
all right, fuck.
No, I can't do it. That's why I'm on my knees, dude.
My name is Sam, by the way. Nice to meet you. Fuck. Is that how you guys became friends?
Yeah. Well, it started from wrestling and stuff like that. But we, like I said, so when we, so in middle school, I had my friends group of Johnny and my, like I said, Billy, and then when we got to high school and both middle schools combined, that's when I started hanging out with Joe, and we all formed our we all played I don't think Joe played football, but our buddy Kyle, who I played lacrosse with, who was best friends with Joe, another kid named Spencer and stuff. We played football when we first got to high school together, and like even before school started, we were there at practice together. So we all kind of became buddies before school started and had like a little friend group already going, you know what I mean, from football and everything, and from
click,
right, and from knowing each other, like who wasn't on the team or whatever we were friends with. But yeah, so that's how that all came to be. But wrestling, I would say, yeah, definitely. When I was younger, I wasn't very serious about it, and then when I got to high school, like I said, with football, I was a little kind of even intimidated by a lot of that, because they stuck me on the line, and a lot of these guys are huge, and I'm like, I'm kind of tall, but I'm not like over 6 feet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm way heavier now, but back then I was like 220, 230,
Damn, you were a unit back then for high school. 220 is fucking.
I was fat, but and then so my junior year I wrestled 160. Think about that.
God damn!
Yeah.
Wow.
So my sophomore year during football season, I was like 220, 230. And then, so yeah, like sophomore year, football season, 220, 230. And then during wrestling season, I wrestled 215. But then the following year, they had a camp. We would go to this camp at the College of New Jersey. We'd stay there for a couple of days. And they'd have all these different schools there. And you'd wrestle 2 practices or 3 practices during the day, and then a match at night. And that really helped a lot. Made you a lot better. Wrestled a lot of good schools from New York, Pennsylvania. But anyway, I did that. I took that pretty seriously my sophomore year, going into my junior year, and I lost a bunch of weight and wrestled 160 because there was an opening on. There was 2 seniors that I had to beat for the spot, but as far as I was concerned, there was an opening at that weight. Everybody else there's no way. Like I said, everybody that was in my grade and everything, all very, very good wrestlers, all around, up and down the weights. So, and then, there was 2 guys that weren't in my grade that I really didn't really know too well. And I was like, I'm going to try and beat these 2 guys. And I did. We wrestled off. I beat both of the seniors for the 160 spot as a junior. Wrestled the whole year in the spot, kept having to wrestle them off multiple times, all the time, trying to keep my spot. Then I get kicked off the team right before the singles at the end. Yeah, right before the districts and the counties. And then they let this one dude, go in my spot, and he just lost outright or whatever. But
was that
they were good kids, but I don't know.
Well, I don't know if you want to get into it. When you got, I guess this is circling back to how you got in trouble, like you said in the beginning. Was it wrestling related, or was it school related?
Yeah, it was kind of wrestling related. So when we were in high school, we had like a team room. You had the wrestling team room or whatever, and a big thing everybody liked to do, keep video. We had a Nintendo 64 and a TV in there. Nice. So they would lock the door, but every once in a while, we'd be at practice at night, somebody would try and leave the door unlocked or some shit. So during the day, we'd sneak in there and be study period and be we're going, let's meet there, and everybody would play Smash Brothers and 4-way Smash Brothers in the locker room during sophomore year during one of the periods. It was
nice.
We thought we were cool doing that, right? So one of the kids had the great idea. We saw a janitor after school, and he's like, I'm going to take his ring of keys. I'm going to steal one of the keys for the team room or I forget how it happened. But they wanted the team room key, right? So they stole his ring of keys. And they gave it to me afterwards. They took the keys they wanted and gave me the rest for some reason. I was the lookout or something. And they made copies of the key, too. It said right on the key, do not copy. And they made copies of it somewhere or whatever. And they all had keys to the team room, so we could go in there. And then that turned into one day after school, they went into one of the again, I was the lookout. They went into one of the rooms that had the overhead projectors.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And not the older ones. We're getting new ones at the time, and they were oh, those are worth a couple $1,000. So one of the kids was let's steal them. I was just you're young and you kind of don't realize what's going on. I guess I did, but
you're gonna tell them no, this is stupid. You guys are assholes for doing that. Right. You're not gonna do that.
And repercussions, totally oblivious to all of the legal repercussions and everything that would follow. But
you're 15 at that point,
right?
Yeah.
And dude, these kids they did it. And I was an idiot. I kept the keys, right? If I had just threw the keys down right there and walked away, I would have not been tied to any of this stuff, right? So one kid. They took a bunch of projectors. This is terrible, but the football team raised all kinds of money to get this projector, right? Over the summer, they're during their Summer Warriors program, or whatever. They raised all this money to get this new projector, and then these kids stole it. I guess you could say I was with them, whatever, but they stole it and they're trying to sell it, along with a bunch of other ones. When the cops actually figured out, because they put it on eBay, they were trying to sell it, and they checked eBay and all kinds of stuff. And they went to get one of my buddies, and he was watching. They knocked on his door, the cops, and he was sitting there watching a movie. And he was watching Finding Nemo or something like that on the overhead projector in the living room with it projected on the wall. And they walked in, and they're about to ask him, "Oh, I guess it's right there, huh?" Yeah.
Yo, imagine that, dude. Yeah. And imagine if all like you couldn't be like, look, I like Finding Nemo. Don't get me wrong, right? But it's like you couldn't be watching like Rocky or something,
dude,
or Scarface or something.
Off. Yeah. With the police, it's like, oh, why don't I shut off the thing that I stole? That's why they're probably here. Whatever. Guess you're caught at that point.
That's funny.
But yeah, so that wound up getting me obviously kicked off the team because these two kids were like, oh yeah, Sam Messina was involved too. And I was like, I didn't have anything. I didn't get any money from anything.
Yeah.
I didn't, not sure as fuck wasn't watching I was cutting weight for a match the next day. And I was so thirsty. Like when I used to cut weight, I wasn't even like hungry. I was like, I need something to drink so bad. Cause like, making weight at 160, I would be like 168 the day before. Go to practice, come home 164, after wearing sweatshirts to practice. Spit in a bottle, sleep with the windows open to get the chills, or whatever's going to help you lose weight. And like I'm dying of thirst, and I get a knock on the door, and I answer the door, and they're like, looking for Sam Messina. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And they're like, when you're younger, they arrest you, but like they don't take you anywhere. Like he's like, you're under arrest. All right, bye. So like show up for court or whatever. And I was like, all right, so. I think I got like I don't remember if I got suspended. I had to like take my midterms in the in-school suspension for like 2 weeks or something like that. Something crazy. But they made us pay for all new locks in the whole school because the kid took. So there's one key on there that's like the master key, right? That's the key that the kid took, and obviously, you can get into every door in the like the janitor has a key where like any door that he needs to get into, that key I guess gets him into it. So we had to pay for all new locks in the whole place, which was like $9,000.
Jeez.
Yeah. Locks are not cheap.
Yeah. And I was dragged into this all because of that stupid ring of keys. They came in and it was in my drawer. If I had just got through those keys, I wouldn't even have been tied to this whole thing.
If you were a good criminal,
right. But that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Okay. I wasn't even really trying to be a criminal.
No, you weren't. You were innocent.
Yeah.
No. But it's funny. He probably like, why the fuck did I keep these?
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I think that like when they were like, I didn't even think, like, when they were there, I, like, ran upstairs and, like, looked around. I was like, do I have any weed or anything that they're going to, like, arrest me for? And, like, I think I looked around and, like, I saw them in the drawer and I was like, whatever. And then they came in and looked and found them. And then I was like, I should have just fucking threw those out the window in the backyard, Fuck. But I didn't know. I was like, I didn't think, like I said, I was completely oblivious to any kind of repercussions because... I guess I don't know.
Well, you didn't have any malintention behind it, right? Like,
I don't know. I knew what they were doing. I knew they stole the shit. I obviously knew it was wrong. So I guess you could say I'm guilty for that 100%. You know?
Yeah.
But like,
that wasn't. It didn't seem like that was your plan.
Exactly. Like in my head at the time, I'm like, I didn't think you could get like arrested for something like that.
Yeah.
Even though
you're a teenager and your friends are doing.
You can.
your friends are the ones instigating, wanting to do this stuff.
Yeah,
and you're like,
you know what? That's kind of just an excuse. I definitely knew it was going on, and that's why I got in trouble. What I mean? I believe in karma and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not justifying that, but like at the same time too, is like it wasn't your idea and your friends wanted to do it. Like, how do you? Like if it was the three of us and you're like, hey, let's go rob my neighbors. It's like,
it's like
I'm 15.
And you
I don't know if
kind
that's
of
not a good idea.
pressure.
And like, we're gonna go do it. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
It's like crack. You got a 30-pack of beer with your friends in high school, and you're like, I don't want to drink this. Like, stop being a little bitch, man. Just have a beer. And you're you're pouring out half of it.
So, what is $9,000? Is that like something that all your parents like made you guys work for?
Oh yeah. Well, they had to pay it, but like they're always like, you're gonna pay me back for that money. Like,
Jesus Christ, dude! I can only imagine how pissed they were.
And I was young, so like I was like, I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna pay you back for that.
Right. A lot of money. A lot of shoveling, a lot of raking. Fuck, dude. Oh man.
But that was my junior year, and then so I'm lucky because I kind of had a spot like even though I went from 160 to 189. I kind of, still had a spot like established in those rankings, with those kids that I grew up with. So my senior year, I think there was like some other senior that like never wrestled before that wanted to wrestle me off, and I was like, I was like, all right. And then like we never actually did. I think he was like, all right, well, that's stupid because we all have been wrestling together since we were little kids.
Yeah.
You think you're gonna come senior year and come wrestle me off and win? All right.
Go ahead, try.
Go ahead. Yeah. Fuck.
But yeah, there was really no. I didn't have anything to prove for that. I pretty much had my spot when I came back. I just had to, like I said, my senior year they brought in that guy Pat Tribuco, who was like, like when he was in high school, like okay, hazing and stuff like that. When I first got to high school, the football and everything, hazing and the wrestling hazing freshman year was like, you'd get like people would be getting sued right now if it was like But like, they tied one of my buddies up with tape, tied him up like a mummy like this so he couldn't move, and there was an elevator and they pressed up and down like a bunch of times, put him in there, and just like he was on the ground like wiggling. And so when they came and found him, I think they taped his mouth too. When they found him, like, the athletic director like flipped out and like had a whole talk and everything because shit like that, like, or you'd be in, they made you shower during wrestling. And like we would all wait. Like I'm not going in there when the older kids are there. It's fucking stupid. You're gonna get hazed. It's like you're inviting it. So we would wait, and they knew that. And then like when we would go in there, somebody would have a plunger waiting, and like you'd be in there, and they would like stick the plunger to your ass, and it's like it's not that bad, but it's like a dirty ass fucking plunger. Touch me with that shit. Oh.
Yeah, fuck that.
I wish I had my attitude now because a couple of those dudes, I would have just punched them right in their mouth.
Hell yeah, bro.
But back then, you're like, oh, it's a fucking older kid. Please don't hurt me.
Did anyone ever like just ignore it and have that attitude and say, "Fuck it, I'm gonna shower with these guys"? Did they get like?
By sophomore year, it was like a lot of them respected us too because there was freshmen that wrestled with the varsity team and stuff too. Like I said, we had all wrestled together since we were younger, so there was, and I feel like in that regard, I don't know if you guys in high school felt like this too, but I feel like there's like every other year. There's like a wave of good athletes, like there's like an off year, and then there's like a bunch of kids that are good, their teams all do great, they're all whatever, and then the next year there's like 3 kids on the wrestling team that are good, 3 seniors, it was like, I just felt like that. You saw patterns like that because the year,
for sure,
2 years ahead of us, state sectional finalists. The 1 year ahead of us, there was like 3 seniors, and I told you I wrestled 2 of them off, took their spots. So it was like. And then our year, 12 guys out of 14 were seniors. So it's, it's like, I don't know. I feel like there's.
Yeah, I feel like you really can't, especially like in wrestling, you really can't get bullied if you're beating someone that's like, if you're beating the bully, like, how they going to bully you? How they going to haze you?
There was,
not bully, hazing.
Yeah. Well, hazing, that was definitely, and the reason I even brought that up is because I'm almost certain that Pat Tribuco, one of the coaches, because he was like, his team was another one that was like, every guy. There was like 4 or 5 guys that went to the state semifinals on his team.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, when you have a room like that of guys that you practice with, iron sharpens iron.
Sure.
These guys become top guys in the state altogether just by I want to call it what's it called when like you get in trouble by a victim of association. What is it? Guilty by association.
Guilty by association.
These guys are just successful by association or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. It rubs off on them.
Yeah, that might kind of explain the every other year theory too, because you have good pool of guys to like Pure. I mean, where we trained at Jamie's and everything, not that it was 10 times different, but Woodland Park was just a smaller room, and you got used to a lot of different guys that you rolled with. You learned a lot of their styles. You knew what they were going to do, kind of. At Pure, you go on a Wednesday night, you could get 8 different rolls at the end of the night for 5 weeks, 6 weeks straight. Yeah. And not go to the same person twice.
And you don't even know what like level they're at too. Like sometimes on a Wednesday night, you're like, oh, this guy might be a white belt, and then you're like, this guy's not a white belt.
Sometimes I'm like, and like everybody, I'm the bigger dude, so like, I never get a roll where it's like, oh, hey, and then like people like sometimes you ease into it or whatever. On Wednesday night, it's like. People just try and kill me, and I have no idea who's who and who's what.
It's always the worst.
You find out quick, though.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you do. You really do.
And it's always misleading too, because you look at like this person looks brand new. Like, no, that guy's been training for 15 years. Like, fuck.
Yeah. Or like the guy's like 130 pounds.
Yeah.
Does not look like whatever you think is like whatever. And then you start rolling with him, and he's like, all of a sudden, he's shooting right past your guard, and you're like, uh-oh. I guess I gotta employ emergency measures.
Yeah, man.
Initiate wrestling sequence.
Oh yeah, get up on a knee. All right, I'm grabbing a single.
So, I mean, their senior year, did you like keep? Because, and I remember this was about a couple weeks ago. We were talking about this. You went up, down, up, down, up, down in weight, right? So what was that all about? Was that just, was that wrestling doing that, or I guess what sort of caused the peaks and valleys? Yeah,
I mean, I guess that was just doing the multi-sport thing because I was a lineman in football my freshman and sophomore year. I was a guard, so I was like a smaller lineman, but. I still, I didn't, when I was a freshman and sophomore, I didn't take wrestling so seriously. I don't really know what lit a flame under my ass. You do something for a couple of years and then you're like, wow, I actually have something here. Let me actually do it now, or whatever it was, whatever you want to call it. But, I kind of just got serious about it out of nowhere. But the fluctuation thing, was definitely probably from football going to wrestling. And then even lacrosse, I started doing lacrosse because, my junior year, I got all that weight off, started doing the long stick midi thing because, lacrosse is, insane work. The lacrosse practice.
So much running.
Is so much, it is basically it's like soccer. It's basically soccer, but you're holding sticks, right?
You get to fucking lay each other out.
Yeah. But they're always calling penalty or unnecessary roughness. Why?
Yeah.
I laid the guy out. I'm allowed to hit him. They're like, no, that was too hard. Okay.
When we were in high school, they started reeling in the hard hits because, it used to be able to just lay people out. And it's you can't, blindsiding people in lacrosse. You kind of can do a little bit, but not really. And then it's you got to be within, 3 yards of them. You can't get
there's all
a
kinds
10-yard
of crazy
running
rules.
head start.
You can't if your hands are open at all, you can check somebody like this with your hands like this. If there's an inch in between your hands, you're not allowed to have any kind of stick.
What was that, cross check?
Cross check.
Wow. I forgot all the stuff.
I almost forgot. If you didn't say that, I wouldn't know.
Oh my god, dude! I played 6 years of lacrosse, and I met Pat and Curcio and a bunch of them. In a beer league. Yeah. So I played with them, and I'm sure you experienced this too. With wrestling, but lacrosse more so. There's a lot of really, really, really good people in this area. We got Mountain Lakes.
Oh, hell yeah.
Chatham. So you're playing in the beer league, and it's guys all around the same skill level. And then you get
lacrosse sport.
Yeah. And then you get one person on each team is at least one person on each team that went D1 and that they're sprinting up the field. You're full out sprint and they're jogging and and you can't keep up. You're like, oh, nope, I'm done. Yeah. I can't even compete.
Bro, and we play winter leagues with a lot of those guys and stuff. Randolph was one of them, the indoor whatever sports pavilion or something. Yeah, I played there for a few seasons. That one, talk about not being able to hit somebody. You hit somebody there, it's they want to arrest you. You're not allowed.
Did you ever play ISP?
Soccer.
So for those who don't know, there's a net around it.
Yeah.
So the big thing there is you get checked into the net. All your equipment's locked in. And,
exactly. They gotta pull you out.
Yeah. So it's not like boards in hockey or something.
So it's there's a very strict
the ISP, and it's 2/3 the size of the field too. So it's much smaller.
Yeah, it's smaller. Yeah.
Yeah. It's supposed to be more of a finesse game and working on skills, not really trying to let people out.
Fuck.
It was fun. It's definitely fun.
It's a fun sport. So, but see, I had a different issue. I graduated high school at 130 pounds.
Oh, okay.
I was tiny. So, playing lacrosse, and I wasn't the fastest. I got 2 steps, and then I'm done. I can't.
Really?
Yeah, I got 1, 2, and then I'm in cruise control. So, not that cruise control. Graduating 130, I was the one getting laid out all the time. So that's why they face off. I didn't wrestle. I don't know why.
Face off guys are tough though, man.
Yeah, but you're getting in the scrap, but you're not getting laid out by someone.
No, I get it.
You know who you're going against, and then you're getting the ball out. But you're going down the field, and you got the long stick midi who's 6'5".
Yeah, there's big guys.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. Some of these people in high
they
school.
look intimidating too. That huge long stick,
and they got 6 foot pole, and you're trying to get around them. And dude, I don't know how these attackmen did it.
Oh man,
they would just get destroyed. Their arms would be black and blue, and they would just go through it. I don't know how they did it.
Let's talk about Pat Nan. You got to play. Some will call it dirty. Some will call it mind games. When the defender's looking the other way, he'll come and grab the bottom of your stick or pull the butt end off or something. He would mess with them all the time. Or when the ball was coming, he knew that he was going to get a pass.
Yeah.
And he knew that as soon as somebody was going to pass him the ball, the guy's going to try and check him.
Yeah.
So when the pass is in the air, he would grab the guy's stick.
Yeah.
And catch it like this. And so you're sure
sick,
you're going to get and fuck with the guy, do stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the king of that.
anything to win, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
That's funny shit. So,
except for when you're grabbing somebody's balls.
Then you're gonna
not
eat an
anything
elbow.
to win.
Yeah, exactly.
Chicken oil is in the same category.
Yeah, sorry. Say that for the Diddy parties.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck that.
Oh, that's funny. Shit.
But yeah. So lacrosse. What I really. Lacrosse was like fun too. Like I said, like baseball was fun, lacrosse was fun, but wrestling was not easy. But something, I don't know what it was, just like was just left in me from wrestling. Mm-hmm. Like while I was talking about lacrosse, just to backtrack real fast, the endurance, the cardio endurance for lacrosse is you have to is like unreal. So. At the beginning, the warm-up for lacrosse practice was you ran 2 miles, right? Yeah. And if you ran the first one in under 7, you didn't have to run the second one. So who was always running 2 miles. Wow. Me, And then one time, the older kid...
We never had that, but that's actually pretty clever.
Yeah, it gave you incentive. It was like, all right, you're going to run hard or you're going to run 2 miles. And I was just like, I don't really have the choice, bro. I mean, I was always bigger. I had good endurance, I guess, for wrestling and stuff, but... running is a whole completely different animal when it's just something completely different. It's so repetitive that it just gets in your mind. You think about every little ache and sore or whatever, tired or whatever it is. But one time, one of the juniors or the seniors, I think I was a sophomore, he's like, "Come on, you're gonna run with me. You're gonna do it in 7 minutes." I was like, "Dude, there's no way." And he was like, "Come on." He's like, this is when I started to realize like. Your mind is a lot bigger than you give everything and your body credit for. And this kid said to me, his name was Lee Sterling. He was the captain of the team. And I always thought that he was like kind of arrogant. He was very good. He was a defenseman. And I always thought that like he was just arrogant and didn't really want to talk to me or whatever. But I just didn't know him that well. And he was like, "Come on, you're going to run this with me." And I was like, "Dude, there's no way I'm going to keep up." And he was like, "Come on." And I was trailing behind him maybe 10, maybe 15 yards. But he would slow down. He'd be like, "Come on, we're on pace." And I don't know if he had a pace setter or he just knew, whatever. But he was like encouraging me the whole time to do this. And I think I ran it in like 6:58 or something like that.
Wow.
Like just under 7. And then I stood there and he just was like, "Yeah, see, you could do it." And like from like, I don't know, kind of that was just like, that always stuck out in my head. Like, wow. Like I didn't think that like I could do that. But just picking up the pace a little bit and pushing myself a little and like not giving into the voice in your head, because, everybody has that voice in your head when you want to give up. You can push past failure so much further than you really even know. It's just how much you're able to tolerate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I forget who said it. There's something, it's like you give up before your mind gives up before you actually will.
Yeah. Your mind is always going to give up first before everything else,
Well, I think the key thing that you just said there was this guy Lee was giving you positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
So your brain.
He knew too. He was like, he knew that I could do it. He was like, no, because I was like almost arguing. And I was like, "Bro, I'm telling you, I'm not going to be able to do this. Like, stop yelling at me to like keep up with you." He was like, come on, you can do it. Like, trust me. And I was like, this motherfucker won't leave me alone. And I did it. And I was just like, and it wasn't that bad. It sucked going through things, but like now, like that. I feel like maybe even that moment, plus like whatever was instilled in me from wrestling, kind of like always like, like, listen, I know I'm way heavier than I'm supposed to be right now, 100%, right? But doing certain things, I always feel like I can push myself a lot further. Do I probably screw that all up later when I reward myself for my hard workout? Eating too many calories? Probably, yeah. But I've always like, I'm almost like addicted to that. Like if I'm in the gym at home and I'm working out by myself, it's like sometimes I'll do 5-6 sets of one workout where it's like I was struggling in set 3, and then now set 4, I feel pretty good. And I'm like, I'm not stopping now.
Yeah.
Do two more sets, like until I'm like absolute failure. And I'm not just talking about weightlifting either. Like, one thing that I started to try and do to try and really fix my cardio now for whatever I'm trying to do for jiu-jitsu or whatever, other stuff I'm trying to do at the gym. I'm trying to do some interval training, right? And like talk about running is like, even now at 285 pounds, at first I was like, a month ago, like, nah, maybe I shouldn't even try running yet. And I did it. and I did 2 minutes walking, a minute sprinting, and a minute jogging. So like in 4 minutes, at first I did 3 minutes walking and then minute. But then I guess evolved now into 2 minutes walking, right? And then sprinting. But like when I sprint, like I jack it all the way up. I'm trying to sprint 100% for me. And then jog, for a minute. And when you do that for a few sets, especially with like, I guess the extra weight that I have on me, it was killing me, But in the back of my head, I was like, dude, just do it. Just do it, endure, and you're going to be all right. You pay a little bit the next day, especially I'm older now. My knees, my feet, stuff definitely sore, and I work a physical job, But, yeah, like that little voice in the back of your head, you got to use that all the time. I still use it to this day, even to do what I'm trying to do now, And after 48 minutes of doing 2 minutes, 1 minute, 1 minute, I was like completely dead. But I was
that's
like,
a long time, too.
This was the day before Christmas because I knew I was going to go ham.
Enjoy yourself.
Literally go ham.
So for 48 minutes, you were doing the 2-1 or whatever.
Yeah, 2-1-1 for 48 minutes. I kind of, I know probably for a normal person, that's probably easy,
No, I wouldn't say that's.
But for
easy.
me, that was a
so what's that? 12 sets of that?
I don't know,
right? Because it's 4 minutes.
Sets, yeah.
2 minutes, minute. So it's 4 minutes total.
Do the math on that.
But that's where what you were saying before comes in, where it's like you're saying that's easy for a normal person.
Yeah, like
right?
I could have just stopped. Like after 5 sets of it, I wanted to stop. I could have just been like, you know what?
12 minutes of sprinting.
I'm fat. I did enough. Like I could, I could be sore with this, but I was like, you know what? I felt like, you know what? I'm not failing. So I'm going to do it again. Like it sucks, but like that kind of. I think, but my whole thing from saying all this, I don't want to sound like I'm on a tangent, but I think that wrestling is what instilled that in me.
For sure,
kind of, it's like some people, like my wife sometimes is like reluctant to come to the gym, even though she always comes. She does a great job, whatever. But some people are like nervous about what other people think of them or are going to look at them at the gym. Like I couldn't give I'll go with a belly shirt on. You know what I mean? I don't give a shit what you think I look like. I'm there to work. I'm there to do.
Yeah.
I'm there for a fucking purpose to do something. I don't. Not only do I not care what you think of what I look, I'm gonna badger you if you're sitting on the thing too long. Like, bro,
like
you did a set. Out. Get the fuck up. Like you gonna sit on the lat pull down for 40 minutes while everybody's sitting here? No, come on. Do a set. Wipe it off. Let me get a set. I'll get snippy with somebody in the gym. Like, you want to do things the way especially do like interval training. Like I try and do, like if you're doing chest and back, you try to do a workout and a workout. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's superset with each other. It keeps your, I guess your muscle endurance up, or gives you a little bit of a cardio. You get a sweat going. All that. That's how I like to train, especially for jiu-jitsu and shit, whatever we do. Just lifting big, heavy weight. Joe always yells at me for this. I'm always like, because like we have a thing. We're buddies, and when we were younger, he used to lift heavy, real heavy, and he was good at it, very strong. So now I'll be like, yeah, I threw 2 plates on, did, however many reps. Like we'll say that shit to each other. And like, since I got heavy, he's like, dude, stop doing such heavy weights. There's no purpose to it. And he's 100% right. And that I switched up too. Like, start doing like, whatever moderate weight for you is. Mm-hmm. You do 18 to 20 reps. You try and stay in that range. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, you get 16, you want to go a little, what you might consider heavy, but like, I try not to do anything that I'm struggle 8 to 10 reps with anymore. Cause it's totally not like, it's not really feasible. You know what I mean? You might get some power out of whatever you're trying to do, but it's not really practical. Especially if you're going to get into Muay Thai or MMA and stuff like that. You want to have the muscle endurance and speed 100% more than you would want the power. The power is definitely probably enough there, right? Mm-hmm. Especially you sparring with the small gloves or whatever you're doing. You don't really need as much. So, and especially for jiu-jitsu too. How many times can you push yourself up? You might as well do push-ups. I'm still a big advocate for lifting moderate weights a lot for muscle endurance. Sure. I'm never going to stop doing that. But, for jiu-jitsu, you want to be able to push yourself up with added weight on you a million times. If you want to get off bottom or you just want to get out of a position, that's all muscle endurance. Training, doing 4, 5, 8 reps, your muscle's gonna fail way sooner. You may have more power, but so if I do workouts, it's really interval training, stuff like that. Along with them.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. But what I'm interested to know here is so back then, right? You got instilled in by wrestling this discipline, but Well, let's just go with that, or if it's not, what pushes you now? Because then you were wrestling, it's because you were on the wrestling team, right?
Yeah.
What pushes you now? Because nothing is technically pushing you to go to jiu-jitsu. Nothing's technically pushing you to go to the gym. So what pushes
brother,
you? Brother,
you probably would have had to wheelchair me in here because I'd be so fat if I didn't do jiu-jitsu.
When did you start? Were you that much bigger?
Well, no. When I started, I was in pretty good shape. You know what? Like I said, how I go up and down with weight. That's happened to me my whole life. Still continues to happen. Right now, for years now, I've been on a heavier kick. But when I started jiu-jitsu, I was much, much, much lighter. I was around 210, 215.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I did a Naga tournament. I weighed in with my jeans and my jacket on, and I think I made 215.
Damn.
Yeah.
Christ. What year was this?
I would pay thousands of dollars to make that right now.
What year was that?
Probably 2016, 2017.
2016? Okay, not too long ago.
Yeah, so,
9 years ago.
Not too long ago. Yeah, but that fluctuating thing, yeah, it's funny because even when I was in high school, so when the wrestling season was over, they have the sports awards at the end of the year, right? And they got everybody figurines. The coaches did. One of my buddies got the Superman figurine. Go figure. My buddy Dave, because whenever we needed him to win a match, he's like, all right, pin the guy, and he always really came through. So he got the super. Yeah, it was a pretty good one to get.
Yeah, so that's pretty badass.
They got me. My figurine was this little skateboard dude who had a hoodie on, but it looked like he had a belly, and you could take his jacket off, and he was this little skinny guy, and they got me that little interchangeable guy because I was the guy. I wrestled 160, and then 189, and I went from 215 to 160, and then the next year to 189. So I was the seesaw guy that could make weight in different spots for whatever. That was my little character that I got. So I've definitely been fluctuating my whole life with a lot of this, and it's just a little upsetting that recently I've been on the heavier end for quite some time. I think that obviously. I'll attribute some of that to probably age and not really realizing that when you get older, it starts to get much harder.
Yeah.
I think that I can work myself out of these calorie surpluses that I put myself in, but it's not feasible. People say it's 50% diet, and I think it's might even be a little more than that.
Yeah, I think they say it's
because you could not work. You could not work out at all.
I think 80% diet really. Yeah, because the problem is especially
depending on what we're talking about here too. But as you talk about just losing weight, you could say 80% diet.
Yeah, because really it comes down to now is when you're out of your 20s and you're just full-fledged adulting, you have so many hours dedicated to working, and then any responsibility outside of working, so you don't have unlimited time to work. To put in working out and fight and burning the calories, So you have a 3,000 calorie lunch. That's 3 days of working out right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's also mentally too, because think about it this way: when that Junior or Lee or whatever was telling you, yes, you can do it, you're doing well, we're gonna do it. Don't stop. Telling yourself you can't. It's the same thing with the diet. Because when you stop eating, because I've gone through weight changes myself, and when you stop eating, the first couple of days, your body's and your brain's give me that. Whatever the hell you were giving me.
I'll eat a piece of bread and it'll taste like it's you're so hungry that you're give me this piece of bread, and you just eat a piece of bread, and you're normally I would never think to do that, but I know what you mean when you're struggling like that. It's a psychological little game.
It is. You almost got to tell your brain no, and then after a while, your brain goes, "Oh, okay, yeah, I don't need all these calories anymore."
Yeah,
it's weird. It's a very psychological.
Dude, it's an addiction.
Yeah,
I say that. I mean,
It's probably one of the worst addictions. We always talk. Society talks about. No, I'm serious though.
No, I'm agreeing. I'm laughing because I'm agreeing with you because I was gonna say. I mean, we haven't got into any of this yet, but I have a past with addiction, all different kinds of addiction, and probably food is one of the worst ones that I've definitely encountered. It's the one that's still like here with me and everything, and it's like, who doesn't love to eat? Who doesn't love
well,
to
the thing is, you have to eat.
Italian.
That too. That too. But you have to eat to live.
I'm not gonna pass up prosciutto. Right?
No, dude.
Oh, now I'm getting hungry. God damn.
But so with that one, you said that one's the hardest. I guess.
Yeah. So like that's so. I would say that like we're talking about sports and everything and all that, but addiction that is a. I guess you could say like food. I probably started that fluctuating thing with wrestling and everything, and then like with wrestling, you're restricted, right? Mm-hmm. So they restrict you from eating, and it's like even drinking. Like I said before, like the night before a match, I'm like, I would kill somebody for a Gatorade, ice cold Gatorade.
Yeah,
I was literally putting the sink on cold and running my mouth under the thing, not drinking it, just letting it hit my mouth and swish it in my mouth.
God.
So thirsty.
Dude, that is fucked.
Yeah, so thirsty. Oh. Yeah, so that's like, that'll probably like, okay, so whatever I talked about with the little voice in your head, whatever, helping you work out, that carried with me, yeah. But definitely the eating, those bad, terrible eating habits are carried with me too.
I know a lot of wrestlers that have that. Yeah. I have one of my cousins. It was always Thanksgiving. A large Italian family. We have these big gatherings, and he would enjoy Thanksgiving and then unenjoy it.
Well, that was when I was trying to lose the weight to do it. Yeah, there was definitely an aspect of that too, which is bad because like you said before, like anything to win, right? Anything to do. You couldn't not make weight. That was one of the biggest no-nos that could possibly happen is you don't make weight. How do you have that spot? You work so hard. You got to beat older kids and stuff to get that spot. Now you're not going to make weight. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And not to mention, like, if you don't make weight, first of all, they're going to be extremely upset, to say the least. And then you might not keep your spot. Like, you can't make weight. They're not going to trust you to keep that spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That discipline, they can't trust you at that point. Fuck.
Yeah.
What allowed? I guess we can go into the other side, right, of that other story,
right?
But I guess what were the other addictions, and then how were you able to beat those as opposed to?
So, I mean, really, again, I don't want to attribute everything to wrestling, but it just seems like everything that had to do with wrestling was like kind of grimy and dirty, and a lot of the kids that we dealt with and hung out with and stuff like did bad stuff and went down a lot of the wrong paths. And then like you're smoking weed in high school and you're doing stuff, and then these kids are like, or like maybe they're taking Adderall to not fucking to eat, maybe they're doing taking water pills or whatever and stuff like that. It starts off like that, but then
what's
later,
a water pill?
So people take water pills to like pee out extra moisture, right? It's one way to make weight, but then like they do hydration tests too. They were doing that towards the end, so like they try and make sure that you're not doing stuff like that because keel over in the middle of a high school wrestling match. Yeah, that would be people wild. Are taking this shit serious. So I don't know, it's crazy, but yeah, what was I saying before that about we're talking about the addiction? Yeah, so a lot of the kids kind of were, and then all that stuff, you kind of got into, now they're going to college and everybody's doing pills, and now you're going to see your friends in college that are down at Rutgers or whatever, and you're doing pills, and then that, so I don't know if you guys know, like, so the pills that everybody went back when I was taking them was obviously like the benzos, the Xanax and stuff like that. That was huge. And they talk about the opioid pandemic or crisis. And I was definitely, and all my buddies fell victim to that for a long time. You start off doing the yellow Percocets, the blue, the oxycodones. And then, once you do those for a while, there's like, you get to a point where like, opiates are such a fucked up drug where like, nothing's ever enough, right? So you do all these blues. They called them blues back in the day, 30 milligram oxycodone. First time I ever did a half of one, I was like, you're in La La Land. And I did it because so I was going to the gym, and I was playing basketball, and I jumped up for a rebound and came down on the side of my ankle. Popped my ankle so bad. And I was in so much pain. And I guess I can't remember who I got it from, but I got half of a blue back then. And I guess that's how I kind of got into it. And then, that turned into, well, this is so expensive. They're charging $1 a milligram, even back then kind of. So you're spending $25, $30 on one pill. If you need more than one, that's say $60, right? Say you get a deal for $50. If you want to get high, now you got to take 2 pills, but then that's going to wear off. And then you're going to be sick because once you become what's called chemically dependent, if you do, I think, an opiate for like 72 hours straight, if it's in your system, now you become chemically dependent on it, right? You'll start to suffer withdrawal symptoms. So once that shit started happening, I was like, you literally rob somebody to not feel like you feel like you don't want you could crawl out of your skin. That's what it feels like, kind of. And that was just on the pills. And then somebody was like, "Oh, we can get dope, like heroin." And then you start doing those little bags of heroin, sniffing them, whatever. Sniffing them becomes not good enough, and then you start intravenous. It's like that. I never, ever, ever thought in my life that it would ever go down that road. But again, like I talked about earlier with the repercussions for stuff, I was completely naive and blind to all of that stuff, especially something as powerful as that. You know what I mean? And that just triggered like a few year long struggle that just like, dude, my whole life was turned upside down for years. Went from being in college, I went to Morris County College for a couple of years. We skipped over that. I didn't really do much sports then. I kind of ended my senior year wrestling. I had like a really bad taste in my mouth too because everybody else went to states. Mm-hmm. I wrestled well into the region. I had to win a pigtail match to get into the region to the quarterfinal, which was you come the day before. You don't even know if you're going to be in the tournament. They make you wrestle. So because like when you get first place, you get a bye, right? Or I think it's first place and second place gets a bye. All the guys who get third, they all have to wrestle each other to get into the tournament the day before. So I had a war with this dude from Passaic County Tech. I think I beat him like 2-1 just to get into the tournament. He must have not wanted to be there that day because he was like tired. It was in the morning early. And it was just like, I almost said to him like, thanks, dude. Because this could have been a lot worse. We both could have been out here fucking fighting for our lives. But this kid was just like, you know what? This guy must want it more than me. I'm tired. I'm going home. I'm going back to bed. So, and then because I got kicked off the team junior year. So how they do with seeding with wrestling is, if you don't have any credentials from the year before, like, i.e. you didn't wrestle in the tournament the year before, you're going to get a shit seed, right? So I got kicked off right before all the singles stuff at the end the year before. So I had no credentials. So my senior year when I came back, I'm going into the region as a district place winner, a county place winner, all county wrestler, and I pull the 8th seed after my pigtail match. I pulled the 8th seed, which is the last seed in the quarterfinals, which is like, I pinned a kid in the wrestle back, so obviously something was wrong there, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not the 8th seed, right? But whatever. So 8th seed wrestles top seed, so I wrestle the number 1 kid, lose by like 2 points, kicked me in the face. I had injury time, all kinds of shit. That was a war too, but so and then I faced off against this kid named Louis Ritaco, who was a very good wrestler and football player from Nutley. He was like my arch nemesis. Lost to him in the county, lost to him in the district. Or no, I might have lost to somebody else in the district. But I saw him again in the region in the round. So I won my pigtail. I lost in the quarterfinal. I pinned a guy in a wrestleback. And then I had another match right before what would have been the consolation final, right, for third place. But I lost in that match to Ritaco, who wound up winning the consolation final. So I was like, had a really, really bad taste in my mouth about like, I was upset, I was pissed off. I cried.
I would too.
Yeah. It was because it's such a big part of your life. And like, it's funny is I have a lot of people and friends, sometimes we joke about it now. It's like, we talk about this shit way too much. It was like, you have people that are like, talk about the glory days and stuff like that. But, for me, it's something that really defined my character and like I said, I kind of waited for a long time. I was involved in it for a long time. and waited a long time to get serious about it. And when I did, I was upset that I didn't get more serious about it earlier,
Yeah, the things you don't know until you realize that you didn't know that. It's like, fuck, I was doing... And
like, you want to tell your grandma, like, you were right about everything. Like, why didn't I listen to everything you said?
Why'd you push me harder? It's like, I tried.
Yeah.
You told me to kick rocks.
Right.
Yeah. So that's... You can only...
So I didn't really, in Morris County, I was like, I lifted weights and, like, we'll go to the gym and stuff. I really didn't... Sports wasn't really like a thing for me at that point, at that moment. And I think that's why I got had more time to be into bad stuff. And when I tell you that just a lot of that time is a blur, like I moved back down so I was living in Livingston with my dad when I started to, I guess, get hooked on those pills. And then I moved back down to West Orange with my mom in my grandma's house down by I don't know if you guys know where Jimmy Buff's is in West Orange. It's borderline kind of orange, where Star Tavern is down there.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
My grandma had a house down there on the borderline over there in West Orange, and I lived down there for years. And dude, I would literally just walk down the street into Orange, go get what I needed, And I had been, one of the kids from town that I knew became my roommate down there. And, we both didn't have jobs. We were just, bumming it. I worked with my dad every here and there when he had work. But this was, back when we had, when Obama was president and there was, that really bad recession and all that stuff.
Housing crash.
We felt that crazy. And honestly, right now kind of feels like that with business, with our business right now, with whatever's going on. You know what I mean? I don't want to blame anything for it. But it seems like... work is definitely not there like it used to be. But yeah. So back to what was I saying before that? The
roommate.
Yeah. So my roommate was just he would call his dad and be like, "Dad, I need $300 or $400 to pay these bills or whatever." And I'm like, "Just go get drugs with it." Every once in a while, he'd be like, "Nah, fuck you, I'm not giving it to you." And I would just be sick as a dog and have to do bad things like steal stuff or My grandmother had it was a two family house, but the third floor, we were on the third floor. It was a small apartment. Wasn't really supposed to be, right? Second floor was, and they rented it out to this kid. We snuck in there and stole stuff and pawned it. I wound up getting into a fist fight with the kid. The kid must have knew some shit now that I think about it, because he had me on the ground with neon belly and was like, yeah, well, back when I was a junkie and fucked up, dude, this kid fucked me up. Because we took his PlayStation or something and pawned it. And then he knocked on my door later and was just flipped out on me. And I was I was all fucked up on drugs. I was whoa, bro. Don't accuse me of that shit. Meanwhile, I was dead wrong.
Yeah.
And he was just fuck this guy. And just started throwing punches. And I was that didn't go how I thought it was. He kind of fucked me up. I was 160 pounds at the time, skin and bone and all messed up. And, yeah, he had a neon belly and a fist up. He was beating me up. And I was like, shit. And I was yelling. This kid that I was friends with, what a great friend. He's up there, and he knows this is going on. And I guess he didn't want to get in trouble. I'm yelling up to him, Josh! As this kid's beating my ass. It never came down.
Yo.
Kid leaves me there. I crawl back upstairs. I'm like, what the fuck? Where were you? He's like, oh, man, I'm not getting in trouble. I'm not, that shit happened to me. And I felt like saying... should kick your ass down the steps, but I just got fucked up, so I was
yeah, you were no business doing anything. Holy crap.
Yeah, that's dude, that's PG compared to some shit. So when you first start getting hooked on that kind of stuff, I was sniffing it, right? I was real scared. I didn't want to, you think about IV using that stuff. You think about people overdosing. You're like, I don't know what's gonna happen if I put that in my arm. I'm instantly gonna just fall out, die. So for a long time I was scared to do that. So I sniffed it for way too long before a normal junkie would transition into using intravenous. So I got all these lung problems, and I was hiding it from my parents and my family, and they come see me. I have no food in the fridge or nothing in the house, and I'm making all these noises, have a hard time breathing. You got to think about so the way they sell it is 10 bags, or they call it a bundle or whatever, or you could buy 50 at a time, or they call it a brick. however much you have, if you're sniffing it and you sniff all that shit, they're putting other stuff in it, right? Mm-hmm. So you're not getting pure, whatever this is. And like the dealers are not stupid. They put stuff in it that like probably stings or hurts and maybe makes you think like, ooh, wow, that's great. But it's just like there's additives. Like could be Ajax, powdered nail polish remover. And you're just right into your lungs, or even better yet, right intravenously, right into your arm when you graduate to that, right? So after a while, I'm starting to cough just thinking about it. After a while, like I just had the hardest time breathing. And when you would do it, it would be worse, right? So you do a couple of lines and then you're like feeling high, but you're like struggling to breathe, like you're fucking dying. So at the time, I didn't have a car. So I used to have to walk from my grandma's house down into Orange. And I would be like like I was a junkie. I didn't eat a lot. I was skinny. It was freezing cold out in the wintertime. And I only had one thing on my mind. I was lie to whoever I can to get money so I can get my fix and do the shit right there. It was like this, I guess, I don't know if she was a hooker or a stripper or whatever. Our friends were buying shit from her, and she lived in the apartment with the drug dealer. And, like, you would come in, and, like, sometimes, like, you would buy stuff from her, and, like, you could sit in there and do it with her. Or maybe do a bag with her. She'd give you one. You never know. It's, like, fucking weird fucking relationship with this woman and this drug dealer that me and my buddies had. And one day I walked there, and I'm like, it's freezing cold outside. I'm like, I just want to do these bags sitting here. She's like, all right. And the dude's, I'm not going to say his name or whatever, but the drug dealer's sitting there, and he's like, he was kind of friendly with me, always tried to be, like, I guess nice to me or cordial. And I do these bags, and I start, like having a hard time breathing. And, like, I was having such a hard time breathing that I couldn't even talk to them. Mm-hmm. Like, they were asking me shit, and I couldn't talk. And at a certain point, like, his whole persona just changed, and he was just like, all right, get this motherfucker out of here. We can't have him dying in here. Literally had, like, somebody come out from the back. They picked me up by my arms, dragged me out onto the sidewalk in the front in Orange in the freezing cold, and plopped me on the sidewalk.
Holy
Because he thought I was going to die or overdose or whatever. He didn't understand that I was having, like, I guess, a breathing issue or whatever. He's just like, this junkie, get this junkie out of here. Don't have him dying here. Put me on the street outside. And another time I'm in there with one of my buddies who's passed away now too. I had three friends. When we talked about my buddy Johnny in the month of August in 2018, I had three friends all pass away in the same month. Damn. From overdoses. From when fentanyl. See, I got out when fentanyl just started to be really rampant, right? Mm-hmm. But fentanyl could be up to 100 times stronger than one dose of heroin. So it's like you think that, like, you're going to snort a bag of fentanyl and you're not just going to instantly fall out. Sometimes they don't have enough Narcan. Like, sometimes they need 5-6 cans of Narcan to bring you back. From that, a cop had it on his shirt and he went like this, overdosed, and they needed 2 or 3 cans of Narcan because it's on his shirt. So
my wife's a cop, and that's one of my biggest fears.
Oh,
so the one thing they started doing is
fentanyl's messed up.
Yeah, well, there's a thing they say, people, like, if you see cash on the street, don't touch it because it could be laced.
Yeah.
But they carry their own Narcan for
themselves.
But every cop has to have a Narcan on them, and that is only for that cop.
Fuck yeah.
So now you're saying that? I'm going to tell her you need 3.
Yeah, you should get, like, the Costco size one. Like, honey, I got you the mega pack.
It's like an EpiPen just...
It suctions to your face. Yeah. I mean, you got,
it's like the alien from the movie.
Yeah.
Your face, that's what it is, but for the Narcan.
Dude.
Sorry, it'd be a side tangent. But so that's one of my biggest fears, though.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, that's one of my biggest fears too. I mean, and you think about, like, what a powerful drug that is, right? Mm-hmm. That you could literally, the tiniest bit, make you overdose, make every organ in your body just shut down. Crazy.
That's so you got out of it just before.
I got out of it just before that. Thank God.
That's a blessing.
Thank God. Yeah.
Because you're telling me all these stories too, and I'm just thinking of all the people I know that passed away from the drugs.
Oh yeah.
Because we're all around the same age, and the heroin epidemic really kicked off when we were finishing, in high school, 100%. Basically.
I think I was a little, like, in college and stuff.
Yeah. But so, like, I graduated 2008, and that was, I think, 2005, 6 is when things kind of started.
Yeah.
And, so many kids. And it's crazy, too, because it's, like, I would say about at least half are like full blown fine, living the full life and doing great.
I know a lot of people.
And then there's like 25% that like they're fine, they're no longer doing stuff. And there's the other 25% they're no longer here.
Yeah, no longer here. Or you know what? You got a few stragglers that are like, it's like you're like, wow, you're still like, how are you still? Yeah. Like I have a couple buddies that are like, every once in a while I talk to him. He's like, dude, I was fighting the little green goblins last night with a ninja sword, and in my head I'm like, how the fuck are you still doing this?
Yeah, Jesus.
Like how, like, dude, it was like being in hell on, like, just like, bro, every aspect of it sucked. Like, you got to deal with some of the worst people around, right? Mm-hmm. And then it's like, for sure, you play the waiting game. It's like, all right, I'm coming now. Like, I need whatever, this and this. All right, I'll be there in 15 minutes. Meet me at the spot. You're like, you know he's not going to be there in 15 minutes, so you leave in a half hour, right? You get there 45 minutes later. Call him. Yo, I'm here. I'll be there in 15 minutes. Now, this is what he told you 45 minutes ago, right? And you already accounted for him being a fucking scumbag and making you wait, right? And now you sit, you wait another 20 minutes. You call him back and he's like, yo, I told you I'll be right there. But now you've already waited for a fucking hour and 15 minutes, right? He doesn't know you've only been sitting there for 20, 25 minutes. But the shit has such a hold on you that he could make you wait. He could tell you 15 minutes 20 times in a row and you ain't going nowhere.
Fuck.
You sit there through a fucking snowstorm and wait for it. Dude, I've been so down and out that the last thing I had was my TV, right? And I like had DVD. I didn't even have I couldn't. Yeah, at a certain point, my family kind of figured it out, right? And they're like, well, let's not contribute to any of this, right? So I didn't really have stuff I paid for. Like I didn't really have cable and shit. So I just had a DVD player and my TV, a little 32-inch flat screen. Oh, I guess would get fucked up every night, and I had my TV, and that's all I really did. And then one day, I was just down to nothing, and I was like, called the dude, and I was like, you want a 32-inch flat screen TV? He's like, I'll give you 6 bags for it. So I put on, I don't know why, I had shorts and sandals on, and it was snowing out, and I had a North Face jacket on, just carrying my TV down the road, I wasn't gonna die, you know. But it was freezing cold out. I carried this shit down the road into Orange. I had my setup, everything that I would use to get high with me. Went down there, sat and waited. Obviously called this motherfucker an hour and a half before I came. Like, yo, I'm at the spot. Waited forever for him. When he finally came outside, I just right on the side of the road. Didn't care who was watching. Right in front of this apartment building where I had just got the shit. He's like, all right, see you later. Walked away. As soon as he walked away, I didn't even move. Took out my shit, put it in whatever, did everything I needed to do, strapped up, and did it right in front of this fucking apartment building. Right there on the side of the road. Cop could have rolled up on me and took me to jail. I did not care. I was that strong out at that moment. Just fuck. I don't give a flying fuck what happens right now. You know, I have one thing on my mind that I need to do. And it's happening right now. Or I'm going to peel my skin off.
Oh, wow.
You know, so that's kind of that's where I was at. And you know, obviously my family saw the downward spiral. Dude, I just, too many, again, another story of my buddy Johnny who's passed away. You know, I had one guy that we were going to, and he was all the way on the other side of town. So you know, and he barely ever answered the phone. So when we would get him on the phone, he was like a last resort. So one day we were really fucked up. My buddy Johnny's like, dude, just call that guy that we never really call and tell him you need 20 bags of heroin and this much crack. Because we were smoking crack too at the same time, too. Wow. Speedballing, doing because they sold crack too, right? So eventually they're pushing on you. They'll snap.
They're upselling you.
Yeah, they're good salesmen. They're dude, they have what's called break off, right? It's a little square of crack, nice big chunk. And you know, you buy the heroin or whatever, and then they'll break off a little piece and give it to you. Here, get yourself a little rose at the store and smoke it. A little rose is this little plastic rose, but it comes in this little glass container, and you use that to smoke the crack or whatever. I feel like such a scumbag saying all this shit, but this is true. I used to.
It's life.
And you know, if you ever asked me if I would get into. How many people at the gym do you think know that I was all smoking crack at one point?
No, I don't.
You know, I mean, probably gonna have some heads turned the other way when I see you.
No, not at all. Also, hold on. Before I'm sorry to interrupt you. Just first of all, thank you for sharing these types of stories.
I don't care. I'm only busting balls.
No, but still,
I really don't care. I'm open about most of it all the time.
But I feel like that's why you were able to make such a good comeback, right? Is because you realize what it is.
You're gonna hold it against me, then hold it against me.
No.
You know what I mean? That's just.
Everyone has a demon.
Yeah.
You fought yours off. You fight yours off every day.
Dude, I'm literally fighting these assholes. I got to a fit. Dude, that brings me to. Well, so let me finish this story. So, my buddy Johnny's like, yo, tell him we need this, this, and this, right? This, we call them CDs and DVDs. Obviously, the DVDs is the heroin, the CDs is the crack, crack dope. That's the whatever moniker. So, we go, and we have like 9 singles all rolled up. But we knew that the dude would send his father out and just,
send his dad?
Yeah, it would send, because it's much less conspicuous seeing an old guy walk out of the house and do a deal on the side of the road right there in Newark than him with his dreadlocks or whatever. I guess it was more inconspicuous sending the dad out. So the dad comes out, and my buddy Johnny's like, yeah, just hand him the singles and we're going to drive away. And I'm like, this is not a good idea. So it worked out fine. Like the guy, because, you're on the side of the road. So, right, the guy's not going to take the money and be like, yeah. It's all that, it's like more like don't want anybody to see. If it's not there, I'll talk to you later about it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, and that's what basically happened it was my guy, and he's like, yeah, call that dude. We never call him. It was like my emergency guy, right? So the next day, of course, I'm fucking dying again, and I call him. And he's like, yeah, come through. I'm like, all right. And me being the junkie, I knew in my head, I'm going to face some kind of repercussion when I get here. This guy's not just going to be like, oh, yeah, come back, no problem. But I was nobody else was answering. I needed it so bad that I was like, if he's going to punch me in the face, punch me in the face. But please sell me the drugs after. That's how bad I needed the shit. Imagine not caring that you were in deep shit with a drug dealer, that to the point where, you knew he had it at that moment and you needed it that bad. You're like, I'm just going to face whatever it is. So I go there. It was snowing out. And he had twisted his ankle or whatever. He was on crutches. And I pull up. I'm always pulled up 30, 40 yards away from his house because he's don't pull up in front of my house. All right. So I get out and I walk down the street and walking down the sidewalk. And he's maybe 25, 30 yards from me at this point. And he's trying not to fall because of the snow, and he's got his crutches. And when I'm 15, 20 feet from him, or not too far in front of him, he stops and just looks at me and takes a gun out. And I didn't know what he was doing, you know what I mean? And then he pointed it at me, we're probably 10 feet away from me, and pointed it, put it level with my head. And when it happened, I was all strung out and so fucked up. It kind of the severity of whatever of it didn't really even hit me at the moment. I kind of it was one of those scenarios where you're you don't even really know what's happening. You're hey, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? I totally just tried to play it so cool and was just what are you doing, man? You gonna shoot me? And tried to pretend I didn't even know what he's talking about. He's man, where's my fucking money? And I was I just immediately came clean and I had a gun to my face. And I was dude, my buddy is the one who basically made me do this. And I'll get you your money from him. But I have nothing. I have the money for these drugs though. And he was man, this shit is not a game. Holding a gun to my face, screaming at me. And I'm lucky though that there are some guys out there that probably would have just shot you. Mm-hmm. But I'm lucky that this dude didn't, right? So that whole scenario is just that's one of the things that sticks out in my head. It's just how was I at a point where I just completely was so dissociated with what was going on that I just didn't care about a lot of these things.
Fuck.
Yeah. Dude, I was I was pissed off. I didn't like that he pulled a gun on me. That's how fucked up I was in the head. I was I was pissed off. Part of me was I want to punch this dude. No,
the fear wasn't there. It's more anger, but it's because it's
I didn't want him to shoot me, but I was dissociated from reality of there's a gun to you.
Holy,
you know what I mean? And you don't really know this guy. Yeah. The other dude that picked me up and put me out on the sidewalk. Me and my buddy were there one time getting high with the. Whatever you want to call her, hooker or stripper or whatever she was. And we're in there, and I don't remember what happened, but I think we got snotty with him or some shit like that, and he wanted to he's get the fuck out. My buddy was nah, fuck you. So he just started throwing punches at my buddy.
Yo.
And we were all fucked up at the time, so I'm I kind of feel bad because I'm getting out of here. So I walk out the front door. And I'm waiting for him on the front steps, right? And he doesn't come out. So like I'm like, fuck, I better go get this guy. So I open the front door. And when I open the front door, the drug dealer like pushes me back onto the steps. He's like, man, I told you to get the fuck out. And I started to say like, yo, but where's my buddies? And all of a sudden I'm just like in La La Land. I'm like, what's going on? And I come to, and he must have just sucker punched me. And I had never really gotten punched like that before, right? Like this dude was a pretty big dude. Punched me like I didn't know where I was. And then went inside and slammed the door, and I saw him peeking out through the little hole. Because I don't know if he thought I was going to hit him back or what. I didn't go down. But he slugged me, this dude, standing on the front steps, like, what the fuck is going on? It scared me, and I was like shook. So I walked off the front steps and like stood in the street waiting for my buddy. Because I didn't want to leave him there. But at this point, I'm like, he went back inside. He just punched me in the face. Maybe he's thinking to himself, you know what? Maybe I better go grab something. Yeah, I don't know. So I wait for my buddy. And then like 10 minutes later, he comes out, throws my buddy onto the front steps. It's just like kicking him while he's on the ground, fucks him all up. He's bleeding, slams the door on him. And I'm like, come on, let's get the fuck out of here. And that kid, his name's Tim. He's since passed away now too. He's one of the kids that passed away in that same month from an overdose. Jesus. But yeah, dude, this is getting beat up by drug dealers. You know, that was just
on par for the course.
Yeah, that was just some of that shit was just, you know, I look back on it now and I'm like, I can't. That's why when we talked about it, I was like, you might be interested in some of this stuff because like you think about it, it's like I can't even believe some of this stuff is like real that actually happened, and it's like
you weren't there, like it wasn't you. You were in a different.
Some stuff is like blurry too, like some of this shit is like, you know, I'm trying to think of some other.
You were literally like a
thing.
Different person, than you are now.
You were basically possessed.
I was and that's my sister. I don't want to get all crazy and spiritual and shit, but that is definitely something later on that I was going to get into because there was a whole thing where my sister was going to a church at this time, and I was the kind of person that like, there's no way you would have got me to just like go to rehab, right? It's like, no fucking way. I don't have a problem. What are you talking about? And they're like, dude, you have track marks all over your arm. Like, we kind of know what's going on. Yeah, we think we know what's going on. It's like nobody said it to each other, and then one day, my dad's like, oh, we got to go move a couch. We're getting $150. I was like, nice, let's do this. And we go to my sister's house. I thought it was the couch is at my sister's house. I walk into this room, and my entire family is there.
Oh.
And there's this random dude sitting in the corner, and he was an interventionist. Yeah, this dude. He was really good at what he did because he totally convinced me to go. They also bribed me with drugs. They were like, my uncle was there who like, owns a salon, he has a lot of money, and they're like, turn to him. They're like, well, he needs some shit before he goes to get on the plane. Like, basically, the interventionist told them, like, if you offer to get him some drugs so that he's comfortable for the plane ride, and then we tell him that as soon as we land, we're going to give him more drugs so that he's comfortable, which was a total fucking lie. And I knew that was a lie. So that's as soon as we landed, I was like, I need to go to the hospital. And when you say that to them, they have to take you.
Yeah.
And they gave me Ativan when I got there, and I was like, oh, fuck. But like,
what's Ativan?
It's like a benzo. It's kind of like Xanax.
Okay.
Anti-anxiety. Yeah. But it's definitely they were big on giving you non-narcotics at the place, and I knew that, and I was like, fuck that. I just came from literally doing 20, 30 bags of dope a day intravenously.
Holy shit!
And you think I'm going to wake up the next day and be chill? Fuck no.
Yeah, no.
We landed that plane, and I was like, I got to go to the hospital. I'm flipping out. And like they like.
What state did you go to?
California.
Oh, so that's a long flight too.
Yeah, they sent my ass 3,000 miles from home. So they didn't want to deal with me.
How was the flight?
I did the flight there. I don't even remember it. I know that we had a layover.
You did enough drugs
Did enough drugs where I was so sedated. The first part of the flight, I don't remember anything. We landed in Chicago, and we went to Macaroni Grill. With the interventionist flew with me all the way there. Like he was paid, like my family paid a lot of money to have this dude do this, like that show, and whatever. And I remember eating at the Macaroni Grill and thinking in my head, like, shit, I wish I could get high more. As soon as I got on the plane, I fucking just passed out again.
Damn.
Because I had done so before. So this is part of the story too. So I had gotten so bad, like I told you, when you do the blues, opiates, like they pile up. Like, you could do 2 blues a day. You could be easily doing 8 blues a day in a couple weeks, depending on how much of a fucking glutton you are. And, like some guys, like, they're like squirrels. They like to get high and have it all the time. So, like, they'll do a half or they'll do a whole one and they'll wait till later, and then some guys are just gluttons, garbage heads, I call them. They just, whatever they have, they eat them. And they can have 3 or 4 of them in their hand. They're eating all of them. They want to get fucked. And then don't worry about nothing later. And then you're all sick and shit. So when I got into heroin, like, I was always like the glutton type, unfortunately. I never really saved enough. I always wanted to, like, it was all about now and here and now, I really just never wanted to feel sick. That was one of the biggest motivations for me, was to not feel that misery of, like, bro, I'm going to be honest with you, like, you wanted to, like, peel your skin off. Like, it just the weirdest feeling in the world of, like, uncomfortability and, like, restless legs and whatever. So, I lost my train of thought again. But yeah, so before I left, I had developed such a serious habit. My tolerance was so high that, like, in order for me to get high, I wasn't even like, other addicts will probably attest to this. At a certain point, like, when you're so down and out at rock bottom, it's like you're not really getting high and enjoying it.
Yeah.
If you get your hands on money, it's like you do a bag or two. It's called maintenance. Like, you're trying to get off of empty, they call it. I'm running on empty. I'm trying to get off empty. It's just like, that's called, just getting right or whatever. You do a couple just so you don't feel so terrible. So I never really was getting, like, high. So when they offered to give me the money to go there, I was like, just did everything before I left. I don't know if part of me was like, fuck this. I don't even really want to go here. Maybe I'll just fall out right now. But I remember I had to use a soup ladle from my sister's kitchen to mix this shit up in, because I think I had like 6 or 7 bags. Put them all in one syringe. You know when you pull the syringe back,
shit.
Like, you could pull the plunger out of the syringe if you pull it back far enough. I was, like, on the edge of undoing this thing. It was that full. My uncle John stood next to me while I did. Everyone else left the room, and they made him. He was like, "I'll stay just to make sure I didn't, like, kill myself or whatever." And he stood with me while I fucking stood next to my Uncle John, who I'm very close with, the man. One of
shout out to Uncle John.
Uncle John, my man. Love you, buddy. Stood next to me while I did this. And he said something that stuck with me even to this day, and it bothers me. He looked at it, he goes, that shit is just looks so dirty. That's what he said. And he was the vice president of a company called Skanska for a long time when they built, like, pharmaceutical places where they made drugs where, dude, there's a room that sucks. They have a room that, like, these tubes come out and sucks all the oxygen out of the air because they don't want any. It has to be so, like, clean to, like, manufacture these things. And he's telling me this, and he's like, and you're just fucking mixing that up and putting it right in your arm from some kid in Orange or Newark made that bag with mixed some powdered Ajax with it. No guidelines, right into your bloodstream. That kind of stuff still scares me to this day.
Yeah,
I wonder about some irreparable damage that maybe I've done to my system. I don't even know if that's possible or not, but that's something that scares me.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I mean, I can't. There's nothing I can say. I'm taking this all right now, but I would say, like, the worst thing that could have.
Dude, Sam, you're complete.
No. What I'm saying is, like, there's nothing I could say to, like, offer. But what I'm saying is, I think you said irreparable damage. I can't sit here and tell you yay or nay, but I think the worst thing that could have happened didn't. Thank God. Like, you didn't.
Oh yeah, I think that's for sure. And I think that like anything else, like they say, a smoker in like 7 years, your lungs won't be black anymore if you do whatever.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe all the working out and stuff that I do, maybe that'll counteract some things that I don't know. Who knows? I'm a big believer in, like, you know what? Your body is one of the most incredible things. It's the most incredible thing on the planet. Your mind and your body. Your body, despite inflammation and stuff like that, without the presence of inflammation, your body heals itself on its own of everything. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Your body wants to maintain homeostasis. It's going to try and balance. If you're doing the right stuff, your body's going to balance itself.
Just how many times did you get beaten up, or your buddies got beaten up, and you're going doing heroin, barely eating, your body's still healed? Yeah, how crazy is that? You know,
I think in a way,
like you're feeding it drugs to survive, and somehow it still heals itself.
There's a fucked up part in the back of my mind that thinks like because I just didn't eat and I fasted so much that's why my body was. You know, they say when you fast a certain amount of hours, your body starts to repair the RNA, right, in your DNA and shit. So at a cellular level, when you fast, you start, you know, your body starts to repair itself. I'm thinking like, dude, there were some days where I didn't eat. There were some days where like, if I had $15 or $20, like, you know, I would try and like be like, yo, I have 19. Will you give me 4 bags? Try to save $1 so I could get a Cinnabon and a CNC Cola. The CNC Cola was like 30 cents and the Cinnabon was like 65 cents.
Holy
so some
shit.
days that was like all I ate all day. And it would like, I would calculate it. So like, you know, I can get this, and then later on at like 12 o'clock at night after I get fucked up, I'm laying in bed, I'll eat this Cinnabon and drink this soda.
Holy shit, dude.
That was like, you know. But my sister, thank God, pulled me, you know, my sister and my family. See, that's one thing I'm lucky, you know, to have family members that, you know, your family is really, when in those scenarios, having a good support system is one of the, if not the main reason why people get better. They say when you go to the rehab that I was at, they say that 13% of the people that go there and do that program get better. You know, 13%.
I feel like that sounds low, but I feel like everybody that's a high number actually for rehab.
Well, right. It does. It sounds probably a little less, but even if you think about the 13%, right, that means that 87% of the people that spent all that money to go there are either going to die, get incarcerated, or just go back into their active addiction. And it's only wild. 13%, they say 13%, probably less, but only 13%. And thank God, after a while, even though relapsing, coming home, like those are all other stories. Coming home, relapsing, getting kicked out of my mom's apartment, you know, just living in my insurance. Shout out to my insurance agent, Chris Levers, lived in his garage for a while, and he saved. Man, is a huge reason why this is why I talk about support systems. Like I went to, and dude, being in rehab in California was like, you know, whole story in itself. I started to tell you a little bit of that when I was out there. I mean, when I went out there, I was like, you know, I went out there, but like, I don't know how serious I was about not ever getting high again, right? Or like not doing drugs again. I kind of just like did it because that's what everybody wanted me to do. And like they enticed me with some drugs to get out there. So when I was out there, I'm like, did the 30-day program, went to basically a halfway house. They called it a sober living, right? So you have people that get out of prison, jail, and rehab all living together. So I was like, they say, you know, when you go to jail, it's like criminal school. When you go to rehab, it's like drug school, you know? Well, I got out, and I'm in this halfway house or whatever it is, and the day that I get there, I'm like 30 days clean, right? The day I get in there, so there's the medicine that you use to come off. It's supposed to like wean you off the heroin. It's called Suboxone, right? It's like this called a sublingual tab that you put under your tongue. And these guys in the rehab figured out that you could put that in a spoon and suck it up and get high with it. Like, so like the first day I'm in this place, I'm doing that with these guys, right? And then that turns into this guy knows where to get shatter, methamphetamine. And I'm like, I'm from the East Coast.
Shatter?
Yeah, they call methamphetamine, like methamphetamine out there, like good meth is like called shatter. It looks like glass or ice or whatever you want to call it. And the first time I ever did meth was out there, and I did it intravenously, and I did way too much, and I had no idea what I was doing. We got kicked out of the rehab place, the halfway house. Me and these kids wound up being at like this motel where we for 2 or 3 days, you know, we didn't eat. We're on meth. I was tripping, I guess. We called the cops on ourselves, and instead of taking us to jail, they did what's called a 5150. They bring you to like the loony bin instead of jail, because otherwise I would have been in LA County jail, which is like, I don't know if I ever would have came back.
Yeah, fuck that.
You know, who knows? You know, and then like, you know, if say you get into a fight in there, oh, now you're in there longer or something. So it's like, I'm lucky that they didn't send me to jail. So they sent me to this like loony bin place where like that place was insane, totally insane. Like girls walking down the hallway one day, like completely normal, and like I was like real tan at the time, so I don't know if she thought I was Spanish or something else, but like she's yelling obscenities at me, like calling, like one day real nice to me, the next day cursing at me. It looks like she wanted to punch me in the face, calling me racial slurs as if I'm a Spanish guy or some shit. I'm like, I gotta get the fuck out of here, bro. And I had to talk to a judge after 2 weeks of being there. I was like, I had to explain to this judge, like, listen, dude, I was all revved up on speed, basically on methamphetamine, and now I'm here, and like I'm with a bunch of crazy people, nut jobs in here, and I really want to get the fuck out of here. And he was like, all right, I can see. Like, he asked me a bunch of all different questions, like made sure I wasn't like legit crazy and was being serious about what I was saying, and like signed a paper for me to get out of there. But then once he signed a paper for me to get out of there, I had nowhere to go. So now I'm 3,000 miles from home. I only have the clothes on my back that the hospital gave me, which is like these oversized jeans and this ugly ass polo shirt. And I'm like, don't ask me how, but like I kept this little tiny bag of weed on me. I think I had it like wedged in between my leg and like my ball sack or something. I don't know. I like kept this weed on me for so long through the whole thing, the mental institution, whatever. And I was just like sitting on the side of the road, like smoking this weed, 3,000 miles from home, nowhere to go. Night came. It's like the desert where I was at, so it was cold. I tried to call like people in my family, and like it was like the boy who cried wolf. I was like, just get me, like, use your credit card, just get me a room somewhere, please. I have nowhere to go. They literally, like, they'll kill bums, like random people, or like fuck with bums and like do shit to bums out there, just because, like, you know, there's gangs and shit out there. There's fucked up people. So, and I know this, and like, you know, I had nowhere to go. And like, I call my family, and they're like, well, you lied to us so much. Like, how do we know this isn't something wrong? I'm like, literally talk to the guys, the fucking Courtyard Marriott, whatever. And like, they just like, I couldn't get a room. I think one family member offered to pay, and the guy was like, nah, we don't take credit cards over the phone. I'm like, you fucking kidding me, dude? Like, what?
That's fucked.
I had to sleep behind, there was like this mattress behind a dumpster, behind like the meeting hall that we, like the AA, whatever. And I like slept on that mattress behind the dumpster. With no money, no food, no, the clothes on my back was from the fucking hospital. And at that moment, I was like, yeah, I experienced another rock bottom after trying to get clean. And that was all while I was in the rehab place in California. My buddy, Charlie Milano, came and picked me up the next day. I went into Taco Bell and charged my phone. I was like, dude, please. Like, he lived in Hollywood, and he came and got me, and I stayed with him until the rehab place let me back. And then I eventually came home, which was like the start of me getting better. After a couple little relapses, I eventually, you know, started working with my dad and my uncle and, you know, all that good stuff. And that's how I got into jiu-jitsu. Was when I came back, Joe had already, you know, been through years of, you know, he was a brown belt at the time. By the time I came back, was just started teaching classes and was like, come to my class. Was like forcing me to come to his class. And I did. And at that time, I had talked about fluctuating weight. I had lost a bunch of weight, obviously. I got heavy when I went to rehab again. And then when I came home, I lost a bunch of weight again, started getting in shape, and started doing jiu-jitsu in shape, in pretty good shape. If you look on my Instagram, you can see pictures of what I looked like back then. It's much different than now. But yeah, there's a long story about the whole addiction thing. But I think that's important because it...
Absolutely.
You know, although it took away a lot of years of my life, it kind of showed me, like, you know, what's kind of important, what to prioritize. And like, one thing that I'm never going to stop doing is prioritizing my health, like my physical health overall, you know, and jiu-jitsu and what we do over there and whatever else I'm doing with that. It's just like, it can only help you and not hinder you. It's like, somebody told me when I was in the rehab place, they said, you came up with, because I had such an addiction. I came up with a couple $100 every day to get, you know, if I could, but like try most days to come up $100, get my fix. You know, I told you we were smoking crack at the time. I was like, you would do the heroin, and then that was to get you right, so you didn't feel sick, and then you wanted to have fun. And you smoke some crack. It feels terrible even saying that now, and weird, but like, you know, going from that and figuring that out without a job. Somebody told me, they said, because like you would have these meetings where you'd sit and talk about stuff like this, and somebody said, you somehow figured out how to apply all that effort into something bad. Imagine if you took all that and put that into something good. You'd be very successful.
And I'm still trying to work on that because, you know, it just shows you, though, like when you have a fire lit under your ass for something, you can achieve things that you didn't even think were possible, whether it's good or bad. And that goes back to what I said about the running thing with the older guy you can do it. Come on. Like, don't stop. Like, it works in the opposite regard, too. Like, you could do things that you never thought that you would ever do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're both, everyone's capable of it. It's just how you wind up in those spots, you know? Mm-hmm. Try and stay out of those spots, so.
Well, I mean, also, too, thinking about, like, before, like, using motivation and discipline, like, you have a call it span of your life that you definitely, that's motivation not to go back to that.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Now every day is the best you can be.
I think that, like, part of it is, like, you think about how hard and how horrible and, like, the feeling of a lot of that stuff. Like, I never want to feel any of those feelings again. Like, I you know, one thing that still happens is I have dreams, real fucked up dreams, where, like, I'll be, like, in the dream, I'm, like, trying to get this. Like, that feeling of, like, I need this. Like, I have to, like, go through all these things to get, like, the whole dream is me doing that again. Like, no. And I wake up and look over at my wife and my 2 dogs and in my apartment. I'm like, you know, like, I don't think I'm, like, the most successful person. But then, like, I think about, like, where I was, and I'm like, you know, I don't know, 13 years ago, whatever it was at this point, like, I was completely homeless, sleeping behind a dumpster with no clothes, no money, no food, and absolutely no idea what I was going to do, to where I'm at now. You know, I'm able to have a membership at the gym. I have an apartment, I have a wife. You know, my business is a little slow right now, but to be able to, those are all huge accomplishments for me, in my world. Those are, like, from where I was. It's hard to even imagine back then what I thought I would be. I definitely did never think that I would have some of the really, I guess, freedoms and luxuries that I have now. I thought my life was over at a certain point. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But, you know, you can do a whole lot more than you. It's all about the power of the mind, man. You know?
Absolutely. We talk about that all the time.
I love that you brought that up.
I do like how you keep referencing, like, that mattress behind the AA meeting building.
Yeah, that was like, wow.
And where you're at now, and it's like, dude, you did that, man. You can do anything.
Well, that's what, you know what, some people are like, dude, what the fuck are you doing with your weight, man? You stop doing stopping using intravenous drugs is, like, I'll say from the experiences, definitely, I would say, is the hardest thing that I've ever endured. Mm-hmm. I don't know what I could compare it to ever, but, like, you know, it's kind of stupid that I can't get my diet on the right track the way I want to. I can. It's just, you know, well, like, that's why I talked about having that flame lit under your ass. Like, that shit, that feeling that I didn't want made me do all of those things. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's really the question of what's motivating you, right? You actually asked me earlier, like, what keeps me doing this stuff? And, like, I want to say it's my health, but, like, there's also other dreams and goals and aspirations I have. Like, you know, I want to dive into the other parts of martial arts, because I don't want to say too much, because I don't want to have to eat my words later. I'm trying to, you know what I'm going to say. I'm trying to train with the other stuff, because I want to eventually, you know, see if I can't train and be in good enough shape to maybe actively compete, you know, in not just jiu-jitsu and other things. So,
setting goals.
Yeah.
I like it.
I think that's one of the things that's going to keep me on track, is like wrestling. You had to make weight. You'd be humiliated and you wouldn't have your spot. It's like, I'm making weight no matter what, by any means. I'll cut my foot off if I have to, you know. Yeah. I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean. Like, you know, it's the same kind of thing here now. Like, when I think about, like, it's not all over. I'm 37. You know, I could do some stuff still with what I want. And I for a little while, when I came back from rehab, so my cousin Michelle, my father's brother's daughter, so my uncle's daughter, they're a little older than me. There's, like, you know, she's, like, I think she's in her 50s now. She married a guy named Leo Liacono. He was ranked number 6 in the world, fought Ray Mercer. Mm-hmm. So he taught me a little bit of boxing, and, you know, Not much of how to defend myself, but he taught me how to punch and taught me the correct mechanics of a lot of the stuff and trained me pretty. When I was in my 20s, I had a kick where I wanted to do that. Right, he took me over to the Milburn PAL to this other guy, Pat Prisco. I talked to him about maybe going there and maybe getting into there and stuff. It never really panned out because I was back and forth with the drugs. You know what I mean? But couple times for months at a time over the span of maybe 4 or 5 years, he really went out of his way to I don't know if it was maybe he just didn't want to tell me no, or he cared about me, so he wanted me to have a different outlet to maybe try or do. But that was really where I started, enjoying all of the stuff about fighting. And I was a wrestler, so it was always intriguing. So I did a lot of shadow boxing, hitting the bag and stuff like that, doing stuff in his basement, him showing me, the proper way, the mechanics of everything, and then got into jiu-jitsu. So I don't know. I still have a lot of that in the back of my head and now we're older. It's sometimes when you're older, you revert to old habits and old hobbies and stuff. Yeah. So all this stuff, thinking about all that in the back of my head still kind of keeps me motivated and I still have a drive. And I still have some goals that I want to accomplish.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do.
Love that. Sure. Fuck yeah, and definitely gonna do it. The way that you have your mindset with your understanding of the mind. I have no doubt that you will. And I mean, just hearing that story is incredible. And I feel like you've learned so much, so much more than any of us or any of you listening probably has ever learned just through that. And no, but seriously,
you do learn a lot from all that.
Yeah,
you could call it adversity, I guess, but yeah, you learn a lot. You learn, you learn what you never want to feel like again.
Yeah,
you learn what you never want to experience again, and you kind of learn to value what everybody what everybody else had, or at the time I would look at other people it was around the holidays and my family didn't want to be around me too much I was, but you see people together and you see all this and, they're eating with their family and they're even normal things I saw some people that lived at home and they don't worry about too much bills and I'm over here fucking homeless and shit. Mm-hmm. At a certain time, not because my family really did help, but in California I was and stuff like that. It's just it makes you realize that people really do take for granted a lot of stuff that we think is normal, right? Mm-hmm. But it's you have families that are established and lived here that all have homes and you have things to fall back on. Think about someone that really truly has nothing. Mm-hmm. Think about somebody that a huge thing for them is they have to find a way to get to the DMV to do something because they don't have a car. And these are things that such simple things that we don't even really consider. And just so much that I think that we consider normal that we just take for granted. Living on that other side shows you and makes you really try and appreciate even some of the small stuff. So
absolutely,
yeah.
Fuck, man, that's deep. That's deep. Oh, that's
I'm trying to be too deep,
No, but it's that's what makes it authentic. I really do thank you for sharing that story because I know it's something that you said you don't care, you'll share.
Yeah, I'm open. I'm open.
You're open.
Yeah.
But I mean, it goes to show you that, you said, that 13%, and then that 87%. You were that 13. You are that 13%.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank God.
Hell yeah. And now you literally now life's in your hands, right?
Yeah. Now I gotta I spent too many years being comfortable, Mm-hmm. I'm lucky I came home to, a career when my father was all right, who do you know? A lot of guys, they get better and they have to start again, right? Start new. You have to find something that you love, establish yourself, I came home and had a career to fall back on. My dad was all right, well, we're going to be partners and we're going to, we helped each other. My dad's getting older. He definitely needed the help, the elbow grease. I do a lot of the heavy lifting, a lot of the, when we roll houses, I do a lot of the brunt work of the rolling and stuff because he's getting older. But
what do you do?
We're me and my father are house painters by trade.
Painters. Yeah. Okay,
nice.
Cool.
My uncle, his brother is a general contractor. We both worked for him for a long time, so we do a lot of stuff, but. construction and painting and all that stuff is like in my family. So I'm lucky that I had that to fall back on.
You know what's funny is like my grandfather. So my grandfather opened up an auto parts store in East Hanover. So that was what he did. But his fun thing to do when any one of his kids got houses is he would go paint.
Fix it up.
So you're like, I don't know if it's an Italian thing or something, but making it nice and pretty and getting it finished and painted. So
that's nice.
I feel at home talking to you. It's too funny.
That's a real Italian thing to do.
Yeah.
It's like, like my family did that. They're like, oh, Paula just bought a house. Let's all go over there. Like we're there, like ripping down ceilings, and, like, painting their house,
painting the house. Yeah, but that was my grandfather's thing. He loved painting. Loved painting. I have all his old paintbrushes too. That's great.
We go through paintbrushes a lot.
Yeah.
Shout out to Timmy Don't Tap at Sherwin-Williams in East Hanover.
There we go.
Timmy Don't Tap. Yeah, nice.
He's that. Damn.
Yeah, that's our.
So when I did my house, I went there actually to get all the paint.
Yeah,
nice.
They give us a good deal.
Yeah, they could
love that. Love that. Damn, awesome. Bro. So that appreciate you sharing that. That was fucking fun, like incredible. I know, but like I really like I when you were telling the story the whole time, I was just trying to stay very present and take in what you were saying.
Try to picture it, right?
Neither one of us interrupted at all during that. So it was that captivating.
I felt like I had the stage for a minute because I didn't hear anything for a while.
But I think
I don't want to talk anybody to sleep. But.
No, you were not. I'm not going to speak for Joe, but the stuff you were talking about resonates. I know a lot of people. I have family members, friends. I lost a cousin. He overdosed.
Oh, I'm sorry, brother.
Last time I saw him, it's. I don't want to say it's life. I can brush it off like it's nothing, but that's life. There's people that go through this, and it was the last time I saw my cousin was my grandmother's funeral. She was 93. And he was doing good, and they went back. He was living with someone, whatever, and he went back on the bandwagon.
Just one more time, right?
Yeah, he was always in and out. He had his own thing, but like, so you're telling these stories and talk about people that passed away and stuff. I'm like, I'm at your family member perspective of it, but I'm hearing the stories from your end, like in the weeds of it, and it's like you don't have these conversations with the people because like. Do you want to bring that up with them? Like do they want to talk about it? And it's like if they're talking about it, they're in the weeds of thinking about it again. It's like I don't want to do that.
Sometimes
if they want to talk about it,
Sometimes it's too heavy. Some people don't like.
So you don't hear the stories.
Some people get a little weird. It's like I don't really have a problem talking about it. Some people get a little weird about I don't even mean like talking about themselves. Like you could say this to somebody and they're like. Some people are a little socially awkward, or they're I don't know if they're not, emotionally mature enough in their own skin when they like hear stuff like this. They're like, don't even know either how to process it or whatever. But they're like, people get weirded out sometimes when you talk about shit like that.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like that's why I said in the beginning, it's like, how heavy should I get? It was like
no, it was perfect. It was perfect. It was you gave exactly what you wanted to give, and I think there's an impact there in your story for someone. Hopefully, no one is going through that right now. No, but if they are,
if you are, you have the mental toughness to do whatever you need to do, and I'm living proof of that. So just if you can endure, there's always hope on the other side. It is the truth. You just have to want to do it. If you don't want to do it, it's anything in life. If you don't want to do something, you're not going to do it, right? So even like jiu-jitsu, like there was time periods where I would come off and stop doing it, and it was always come back, always come back, because I wanted to. If I didn't want to do it, I would have stopped, So it's like, same thing goes with addiction. If you truly want a better life, if you truly want to get out of that hell and misery that you're living in, and they say this all the time in recovery, is like, you get better and just go with the flow, let time pass, and you will eventually live a life beyond your wildest dreams. And it's definitely the truth. I definitely never thought, I literally thought I was didn't have much time left. I didn't know what I was going to do. Didn't have $2 to rub together. It's just like eating Cinnabons and CNC Cola as my meal for the whole day. And it's like, now life is just so completely different. So it's, you have the power to do whatever you want. You just got to want it hard enough.
I love that.
Yeah, that was good. Bro, really appreciate you coming on.
Hell yeah.
I really appreciate having this conversation and sharing a story.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak for you, but if anyone can they reach out to you if they're having problems?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like, I always never really was huge on, like, being... There are a couple other people at the gym that are into AA, and I talk to them about it because we share that same recovery, whatever. But, like, there's some principles in the AA that I just... It's fine. I think they're great. But, like, some things I just don't 100% agree with. Like, yeah, okay. I'm addicted to a lot of things, right? But, like, they tell you in AA, like, once an addict, always an addict. Mm-hmm. This is a disease you have that you'll never cure. Like, fuck that. Mm-hmm. I don't want to do heroin. I've cured that. Mm-hmm. I don't need to do that. The thought of doing that makes me fucking sick to my stomach and pissed off. You could sit there and make yourself better, but feel better by saying, this is a disease I have. Or you could grab your nuts and accept the fact that that's just a fucking bullshit excuse to either feel bad for yourself or just an excuse to stay in that shit. Mm-hmm. If you want to change, you can change. You are not forever diseased as an addict. Maybe I'll have, maybe someone could say, like, oh, well, you are still an addict. You're fat. You're addicted to food. Like, fine. But fuck you. I'm not doing heroin anymore.
Yeah, dude.
So,
fuck
fine.
Yeah. Hell yeah, bro.
But yeah, if AA works for you, so it works for some people because the camaraderie and talking, like some people need to talk about it.
I think that's where the gym, it really helps a lot too.
I can go a long time without talking about it. It doesn't bother me because I've accepted it in a lot of it and internalized a lot of it. But if you enjoy AA, I'm not taking anything away from you. That's cool.
I think it's the community. Like even if it's not even the aspect of talking about it, just being around a bunch of people that you're kind of similar, like. Yep. So like coming to the gym, and we talk about this all the time too. But like shooting the shit with people 15, 20 minutes after class is over while you're drilling or something. Yeah, like you have the sense of community there, and I think that's a huge aspect.
Hell yeah.
Because you got into it kind of
It's like being a fraternity. You feel camaraderie with these people.
Yeah, but I mean that like just having like when your family did the intervention, that you felt community there. Whether
part of the reason why I did it.
Yeah, whether you enjoyed it or not in that moment, you still felt the community. So like you got into this kind of like leaving high school, right? And you're going out the world. Your community goes from high school to like
broad as horizon. Yeah.
So like I don't know how much of an aspect that is, but I'm assuming one of the reasons why we all love going, especially with Pure too, is all the good gyms that we are associated with is the community you have with everyone there. When you go in there and you're shooting the shit and laughing at people while you're trying to beat them up, like can't piecing dragging along. It's like it's the community and the camaraderie. It really goes a long way.
Yeah, Joe's breakdancing on me while he's beating the shit out of me.
Yeah, I always joke. I go, if he's dancing, you're
once
just
he starts breakdancing, it's like, oh man, you're adding with insult to injury.
Yeah. You're like, God damn, he's having fun right now. I'm screwed.
Oh man,
man.
Fuck, man.
Well, dude. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Hell yeah.
It's cool. Not that I'm anybody special, but it's nice to
you are
talk about, some of the stuff.
You are, though. I know you say that, but you're being humble, but you beat something that took the lives of many. You would know that, right, with some of your close friends. You beat something, and now you're making a better life for yourself, so that's special.
I appreciate that, bro. Yeah. Seriously.
Fuck yeah.
I appreciate you guys having me on.
Hell yeah, man.
Seriously.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you guys.
It was our pleasure. Thank you so much.
What's up? Anytime what? Anytime.
Oh, yeah. Appreciate it. Yeah, anytime. Folks, you heard it here. It's all in your power. It's all in your hands. Episode 209. This is re-listen to this. I'm going to re-listen to this again because this was
New Year's Day when this comes out.
New Year's Day.
I was rambling, but it's being
you were not rambling. You were great. Yeah.
No, but it is New Year's Day, so if there is a fucking motivation to get your ass to change whatever it is in life, this is it right here.
Listen to that inner voice in your head. You'll be all right.
Fuck yeah.
Sure.
We'll take it from here. See you next week.